Alright, welcome to the Fluff. Welcome to Fluff, you profros. How y'all doing? Ooh, man, it's been busy day for me. Been a busy day for me. Hold on a minute, reading off, there we go. I finished, doing a pixel art for a friend, a fellow Twitch streamer on here. So when I got that done, glad about that. Ate out with my family in a restaurant, Turkish. Really delicious food. And now, I need to check something here. Hold on. Hold the fucking... Okay, it's correct number. I don't know why that's... A looks like a 6 from a distance. Okay. Whew. Now double check everything. I know I still haven't I forgot the stopwatch again. Okay, if I start now, just add 420 to it every single time. Okay, good. That's fine by me. I can do that. Just adding 420 to the mix. I even tried to remind myself in the morning. I was like, oh, let's do the stopwatch. And guess what? I also forgot to check upon on the voice mod thing that doesn't do that weird beeping sound. Well, we're here already. It's too late now. Just going this time. Set it up like this, please. Can I? Yes, there we go. Thank you. This time I can text faster. Okay. Well, I would say let's not waste any more time and let's get to it. I'm gonna run tomorrow. It's been a month break since I ran. 13 kilometers is how many miles? Like 7? 7 times 1.7. So and then add 30. 42 to it. That's 11.2 mile. That's 11.7 is not correct. So it must be like 8 to 9 miles is 13 kilometers. So I'm going to do that tomorrow. It has been a while. I'm not going to stress myself with it because if I do that, I'll die. I'll definitely perish. And then I have to work on this video right afterwards. But other than that, let's get this started. Here we go. A hero is born. I don't know why I'm thinking of My Hero Academia. Somebody ate a piece of hair and suddenly got like super strength. But it's weird to see the name or the title hero in the SCP Foundation. It definitely is weird to see that because, like, you know, that's a positive. I mean, okay, to be fair, not every SCP is negative at the end, so it could be a positive SCP that just wants to save people and can fly around and all that stuff, and the Foundation's like, no, you can't do that, and then the guy's like, what do you mean I can't do that? You taking my right to help the poor? Maybe you're the evil one. You know what I mean? Like, the Foundation's not very, the Foundation's very neutral. Doesn't matter if you're good or bad, they want to make sure you don't do anything crazy. Oh, this is a highly rated one. God damn. Safe. Okay. And now, since we are now in the talking phase, I'm going to do some music a little bit. There we go. That should be a one I can still think. And here we go. SCP-1230 is to be kept in a secure storage locker at Site 12. Access requires minimum clearance 2 with authorization and supervision by clearance 3 research and security staff respectively. Supervising personnel are not to view SCP-1230 contents. Personnel accessing SCP-1230 are required to submit written accounts of dreams experienced within 48 hours of access. I mean, I had a wild dream. See Addendum A, SCP-1230 has been relocated to a secure storage locker behind the desk of Site 12's main library. Access is available to Clearance 2 personnel deemed to be a satisfactory psychological condition by Site psychiatric staff. Personnel accessing SCP-1230 must submit written accounts of the dreams within 48 hours of access and submit to follow-up psychological examination. Okay. So this is apparently, it looks like a notebook. Here we go. SCP-1230 is an unlabeled green hardcover book with no apparent exceptional qualities. When SCP-1230 is opened, it displays the phrase, "A hero is born." A hero is born on the first page viewed, while all other pages will be blank, resetting once the book is closed. This has no obvious effect at first, but upon falling asleep, the reader will dream of a fantasy world where they are the protagonists of a troubled land. I don't need an SCP for that, I can do that myself. Dreamers are completely aware in all senses workshops as well as when awake. Results vary depending on the imagination of the reader and are mostly attuned to fantasy of adventure that the reader would enjoy. Again, I could do that myself, but this would definitely help focusing it, because I don't lucid dream, but I do have dreams like this where like I'm the protagonist and I'm the hero and stuff like that. I can do stuff, but a lot of times it also goes out of control, so it's yeah, this will definitely help manifesting it a bit better, but I don't need your help. Who do you think you are? There we go. Just need to do that real quick. In the mind of the reader, these dreams have been documented to last anywhere from 45 seconds, see experiment 3, to 200 years, see experiment 5. But in reality, the reader will usually never be asleep longer than they would normally. So they think they spend 200 years in a world. This sounds awesome. This is something I would love to have. I mean, there's probably some negative drawback. I mean, okay, maybe the negative drawback, if this is it, if there's no massive negative drawback, let me just raise the microphone a little bit. If there's no other negative drawback to this, if this is all there is to it, then I think the only negative drawback will be psychologically. Because imagine, you are dreaming of being a hero or being a protagonist, right? You're dreaming of being the hero, the protagonist. You live in this world where it's an adventure that you love. You would love to experience this in your normal life. And then you spend, who knows, like years, 50, 60, 70 years living that life, and you're just having a blast. But then you wake up and you realize those 60, 70 years that you lived were never real. Either A, you go into an insane amount of depression, or B, you will have you go into the denial of the real world. That could be dangerous. We already saw yesterday in SCP that really made you depressed, which was the fan club, because it showed you a you that you never are, or never could be, or never will be. And then you become depressed because you're like, oh, this is a me that doesn't exist. These people love a version of me that is not who they... Or they hype up a version of me that's not realistic. We saw like how one of the doctors, they apparently wrote a bunch of books, and then they got texted by some female fan. Sorry, why did I say female? A lady. They got texted by a lady, and she was like, oh, I love your book. And he's like, oh my god, nobody ever said that to me before. So either you watching this, a bunch of people worship a person that's not you, or they butter you up, they compliment you because that's what you want to hear. Now this is the same thing. You're gonna live in a world where everything goes the way you want to go. You live the life that you want to have, maybe, and you'll just be on this grand adventure, and then you wake up and it's all not real. I think that's where, like, if there's no negative, actual anomalous drawback to this, and all it does is make your dreams be awesome, then I can imagine that there's still going to be some psychological effect on the body, because it's just going to hit you so hard, you're going to be like, whoa, I just lived a whole different life, and you want to tell me it never happened? Upon awakening, the reader is able to remember every aspect of the dream in detail. In SCP-1230 Induced Dreams, there is always a character called Bookkeeper-1, appearing as a bearded man in a green cloak who claims to be a personification of SCP-1230 himself, because the book is also green. Right? The Bookkeeper is a green... green cloak, yep, and the book is green, that makes sense. Dash 1 has been reported to be very amicable and helpful towards streamers. It has stated it enjoys creating these fantasy escapes and always tries to shape them in such a way that the dreamer garners the most entertainment out of it. It has expressed sorrow when the dream comes to an end and asks the dreamer to please visit again soon. Again, nothing bad yet. It is still considered safe, which I can only imagine is considered safe because you actually have to open up the book and then fall asleep to activate the anomaly. But so far it sounds pretty good, but who knows? Maybe the experiments will show that it's actually pretty bad. In a small bookstore located with Ditto Expunge, the shopkeeper has no recollection of owning the unlabeled book, but attempted to sell a story to a local newspaper. About a magical dream book, the Foundation was able to dispel the story as a hoax, and SCP-1230 was confiscated. Yeah, I mean, that's a book that, like... What's the animated movie called? Well, a kid goes to a library and then he finds he finds the romance, the adventure, and the horror book, and he goes on this, and he starts reading them, and he just goes on this grand adventure with these books. I feel like that's very much inspired by this. It sounds very much inspired by this. And maybe it's not. Maybe the person who wrote this just came up with it on the fly, but it sounds similar to that movie. What is it? Let's look. Animated movie of a kid with 3 books. That should be easy to find. The Page Master. That's what it was. Yeah. See, where like he went to the library and then because it was like the first part was live action and then like it became animated. I completely forgot. Yeah. That makes sense. No, this is a good movie. This is a fun movie. Was it done by Don Bluth? Was it like anime by Don Bluth? Or no, but it's very... Okay, hold on. Who animated The Page Master? Because it seems it's very Don Bluth-y, but it's Glenn Chaika. Okay. When I say Don Bluth, like if you guys know like The Lamp Before Time and what's that game called? I know what I'm talking about, but yeah, it's very similar to his style. But yeah, let's go on. Okay. Experiment 1, Dr. F. Oh, okay, of course. Blank, in an attempt to test its effective range, opened SCP-1230 and boarded a flight in his hometown of Redacted, where he spent a night at a hotel. Upon his return, Dr. F. Blank reported that Dash-1 appeared in his dreams and explained that once you read A Hero is Born, the dream is immediately implanted in your subconscious, after which Dash-1 is able to manipulate it remotely. Dr. F. Blank expressed his appreciation for Dash-1's cooperation. Again, so far it doesn't seem too bad. Like it seems like pretty chill. Does it work now? There we go. All right. Just needed to like open this up real quick. Experiment 2. A camera was set up above SCP-1230 and using a mechanical arm, the book was opened. All pages were revealed to be blank. It seems SCP-1230 is only effective when opened by beings that are able to have dreams. Oh, that's a shame. So people that can't dream just don't see anything. Dashman explained to a subsequent dreamer that it is actually only able to affect beings with an imagination, that most creatures such as animals would not be affected. That makes sense. Also, maybe like some people don't have a visual imagination, they have a textual imagination, so the dreams doesn't work out either. Again, this doesn't sound too bad, to be really honest, but let's just go on. There's still a fat Experiment 5 paragraph, and there's also a Report 14 that we can open up. So maybe there's some more to this, but if not, then this sounds like a pretty awesome SCP to have. Experiment 3. One D-Class was instructed to open the book, and after such a reassurance that his experience would only be dreams, or to immediately find a way to kill himself in the dream. Let me read that one more time, just for everybody else out there that after I just said it doesn't sound so bad. Let's just see what this says again. One D-Class was instructed to open the book, and after such reassurance that his experiences would only be dreams, or to immediately find a way to kill himself in the dream. The subject was asleep for merely 45 seconds before he awoke with a start in a nervous sweat. He reported being at the summit of a volcano called the Ashen Spire on a quest for Caladius, the Blessed Blade. When asked how the subject knew the names, he stated, "It's like I knew them all along." He apparently leapt into the volcano and felt an intense heat before awakening. D-Class requested permission to give it another go. Request was denied. Yeah. That's not bueno. That is not bueno whatsoever. Okay, let's go on. Experiment 4. One D-Class was instructed to open the book and attempt to not fatally injure himself in his dream. Oh, okay, so I see now. I get it now. So the dream itself didn't say they... Wait a minute. Oh, the dream... Okay, so the dream didn't tell him, like, you should kill yourself. They wanted him to die as fast as possible. I get it now. Okay, so the dream didn't fucking go like, okay, kill yourself now. No, for a moment, I was like, wait a minute. Mr. Bearded Green Cloak guy, you seemed so nice before. Why do you want him to die now? But no, okay, the Foundation, of course, the scientists in the Foundation, the researchers and doctors were like, no, you should try to die. To non-fatally injure himself in the stream. Okay, so now injure and just see what happens. After 6 hours, the D-Class awoke and reported that he was able to feel a numbed sort of pain where it was never so intense as to be unbearable. He also reported meeting an elderly cloaked man who asked him why he was harming himself, but thanked him for not immediately killing himself like that other rude fellow. I'm having a good time reading this. Like, this sounds cool. This sounds nice. Okay, I'm down. I'm down for this SCP. Hey, can I read it? Can I have this for like a little bit? I would love to be in an adventure for like 100 years. Come on. And the bearded cloak guy. We could be buds. We can be friends. Professor B filed a request for access to SCP-1230 and was quickly permitted given his level 4 clearance. Of course, one of the professors is like, can I try it? I mean, at the end, like, if you hear only positive things about it, of course you're going to give it a shot. And especially if you can dream and you just want, stress relief a little bit. Staff members recalled that Professor B was almost visibly shaking with excitement, and some reported that Professor B was an avid fan of tabletop and role-playing games. Yeah, see, this guy knows what he wants. Surveillance shows that Professor B opened the book, read the phrase, sat down beside the desk, and promptly fell asleep. Staff members were alarmed when Professor B did not awake after 15 hours under security. The on-site medical staff were all able to confirm that Professor B was still alive and in good health. After approximately 24 hours since falling asleep, Professor B began to move, reported to have slowly raised his head and looked around the room, appearing deeply confused. Security entered the room to ensure he was all right, to which he replied, "Where am I?" He was sent to medical where staff explained where and who he was. Several minutes later, Professor B appeared to have regained his memory and excused himself to the restroom. When 50 minutes passed and Professor B had not exited, a nurse entered to find that he had hanged himself with his belt. That's what I'm saying. A scribbled message on the wall revealed his last words: "I can't go back to this." Yeah, that's what I thought would happen. Dr. F went to ask -1 what had happened, but upon opening SCP-1230, all his pages were soaking wet with the same message on every page. "I'm so sorry. I never intended for this to happen. I just want to make people happy." Repeated over and over. SCP-1230 remained in this state for 3 weeks, and instead has to be wiped dry bi-weekly. In an attempt to communicate, Dr. F Place a sticky note inside SCP-1230 with the statement, "I'd like to talk to you if that's alright." The next morning, Dr. F filed a report about a dream he had concerning -1. And that must be the report here. I feel bad for -1. This seems like an actual, just honest to God, wholesome SCP who just wants to make you happy. But I knew the fact that if you live in that world for too long and you come back, you're gonna be so confused because you go from your point of view, you will think you lived another life for who knows how long. Professor B lived. Like, if he was a fan of adventure role-playing games, tabletop and role-playing games, he might have even picked a race that doesn't die for a long time. He could have lived as an elf for 300 years. He could have lived as something else that lived 1,000 years. Who knows, man? Who knows how long he was thinking he's living this world, and then he comes back to a world that he hasn't been in years, bro. In years. And then, like, he has to realize, like, oh yeah, I'm a doctor from this fucked up universe. I'm a professor in this whack ass world where shit could easily kill me. Where I try to help people, but I could die in an easy the next day. Of course he's gonna be depressed as fuck. He probably even had a family in the other world. And -1 seems to be, again, I feel like -1 is sincere. He just wants you to have your best time. I feel bad for -1. Upon falling asleep last night, I dreamt I was in a dark void. There was a street lamp, and underneath it was -1 sitting in a puddle. His skull was visibly soaked, and he was sobbing profusely. I remember our conversation. "Bookkeeper, is that you? My God, man, where are we?" I couldn't think of anything to make for a landscape. "Bookkeeper, what happened that day? Why did Professor kill himself? We have to know your side of the story." "He had such an active imagination. I was able to create a vast and beautiful universe for him, but it was obvious that he had wanted to live like that for so long. He conquered foul beasts and rescued princesses. He built kingdoms and even raised a family." I fucking knew it, he had a family! "But he never wanted to leave. He delved so far into his fantasy world that I soon realized he preferred his dream over the real world. I reminded him that this was all merely an illusion, but he wouldn't listen to me. He stated that if he was ever forced to leave, he would immediately end his life. I tried to keep him happy for so long as I could." "Bookkeeper, how long was the dream from his point of view?" 200 years, Doctor. I did my best, but I could only hold on to him for 200 years. As sweet as dreams may be, eventually I'll have to wake up. I awoke almost immediately after. I can't believe he spent 200 years in his dream. I'm astounded by his foolishness, but it's such a shame to have lost a brilliant man to his own delusions." Yeah, but like that's the thing, though. You gave him the perfect world, and then you send him back to the most messed up world, where like it's not even guaranteed that he's gonna be useful or that he can have a family anymore. Shortly after the report was filed, surveillance showed Dr. F slipping another small paper into SCP-1230. After a few days later, SCP-1230 began showing as usual, "A hero is born," greeting once again. When asked when the note said Dr. F that's declined to give detailed comment, simply stating that he just gave it some friendly advice. Addendum A. During initial testing, -1 asked Dreaming personal if it could be relocated to an area with many books, preferably fiction, so that it could think of even better ways to construct its fantasy escapes. After numerous experiments were performed to ensure that SCP-1230 posed no threat, the request was accepted, and SCP-1230 has been relocated to Site 12's library. This is an awesome, awesome SCP. I'm glad that an SCP that's this positive can be this good. Because like a lot of SCPs that are highly rated are usually dangerous, wacky, or like one of the originals. You know what I mean? So seeing an SCP that is actually very wholesome, that just wants you to live your dream life, but also is aware that you can't stay in this dream world forever because you also have to go back to reality. It's so nice to see that an SCP like that exists. It's so nice to see that it is highly rated. A lot of things about it. I'm going to answer this person real quick. I'll keep talking to you guys. Yeah. No, this is awesome. I love this one. I think I said basically anything I wanted to say about that one. It's so nice to see a wholesome SCP like that. It's so nice. It's so refreshing. And I know that if Jade was here, she would be like, well, I'm here for the horror stuff. So she would probably not like this as much. Maybe, who knows? But I do like it. I do like it. It's a very good start. I really enjoyed that one. Let's stopwatch. Here we go. Always add 420. Don't forget. The theoretical family. Okay, we had the family man yesterday, but this is theoretical family. So, what if it's a bunch of random ass people that have no relation to each other, but for some reason they think they do? In theory, they are a family because they know everything about each other, but they never met. And something just bonds them, and now they think their father, son, daughter, mother, aunt, uncle, nephew, niece, and so on and so forth. Hey, no, highly rated one. Euclid as well. Okay. SCP-1231 is contained in an unlit vault dimension 0.6 meters times 0.8 meters times 0.2 meters located inside 20. Guards are posted outside of the vault, denying access to all personnel without direct and confirmed level 5 authorization. A video camera is installed in the vault, taking a live feed of SCP-1231, which has a footnote saying, note that no external light source is necessary due to SCP-1231 providing 20 lux. This video is in turn fed through a specially designed program displaying only the number of thumbnails, and if there is a significant error, access to the raw feeds is strictly prohibited. A mouse is located near the terminal, but remains disconnected under normal circumstances. New personnel assigned to SCP-1231 must be handpicked specifically for testing purposes. However, testing is currently suspended. SCP-1231 is a black Amiga A1200 computer manufactured by Commodore International, missing all other identifying marks, including its serial number. It runs independently despite the lack of power source. SCP-1231 does not function as an Amiga A1200 should, and generally only displays a screen full of thumbnails, named the primary screen. SCP-1231 cannot be shifted from its current settings, and as of yet, no other programs have been discovered on the computer. External attachments such as mice and keyboards work normally. Normally, the primary screen contains 7,870 thumbnails organized in rows of 20, ascending numerically by age. By age, yes. A scroll bar is located on the right side of the screen. Footnote. More detailed analysis of the layout of the primary screen of SCP-1231 is located in Document B. The thumbnail display extremely low resolution. Moving pictures. There is no audio. Most videos do not contain audio. However, despite the lack of speakers on SCP-1231, the cyber sounds can occasionally be heard. Sorry, there we go. Clicking on the thumbnail causes the video display to increase in resolution and fill nearly the entire screen, except for a thin white bar on the top being the number of the thumbnail. Clicking a second time returns the screen to the primary screen, although the videos was vary significantly. There are consistently 3 subjects known as the SCP-1, -1, -2, -3 present. -1 is generally a tall, middle-aged Caucasian man. -2 is generally a younger, shorter Korean woman. -3 generally appears as either a light-colored child approximately 4 years of age or a feral mid-sized animal. Videos do not loop, although the same actions are performed repeatedly in the videos with incredibly minor deviations. New videos are generated when a human subject misperceives an existing video or thumbnail. The new video contains a representation of what was believed to be in the prior video. Testing has shown that only a minor detail, such as the color or position of an object, is sufficient for this effect to occur. Direct observation of SCP-1231 is not necessary, and rudimentary knowledge of a video or thumbnail can lead to a speculation that generate more videos. However, new videos can be created at a maximum rate of 1 per minute. Due to the vigilance of its info hazard properties, SCP-1231 is classified as a beta Gimel white info hazard. Whew! That is some tech speak right there. I was a bit distracted, but I think I kind of get it. I think it's the fact that these 3 characters are in almost everything is a bit concerning. Except from document A, thumbnail description. Data expunged. Thumbnail 2, the setting is the same room as thumbnail 1. Discovered, well, we don't know what the room is from thumbnail 1, you fucking bastards. Discovered on the second test of SCP-1231, believed to have been created after exposure to thumbnail 1. -2 is scooping an unknown powder with her left hand, while -3 is asleep in her right arm. -1 is not on the screen. Thumbnail 3, the setting is the same room as thumbnail 1, discovered on the second test of SCP-1231. Believed to have been created after exposure to thumbnail 1. -2 is asleep, while -3 is crawling over her. -1's leg is present in the upper right of the screen, although the rest of his body seems to be just outside of view. Thumbnail 4, the setting is the same as room as thumbnail 1. I have no idea if this is a good idea for me to play right now, but it's just... Okay, yeah, it's not, there's no worries. nothing, because I have the music set up to do something. Yeah, no, it's all good. The setting in the room as thumbnail 1, discovered on the second test of SCP-1231, believed to have been created after exposure to thumbnail 1. -3 is mauling the pectoralis minor of -2. -1's mutilated right leg and pelvic region is located in the upper right portion of the screen. Okay. Okay, we don't need it. Apparently the thing just does that. Thumbnail 39, the setting is the same room as thumbnail 18, discovered on the second test of SCP-1231, believed to have been created after exposure to thumbnail 24. -1 is dislocating and relocating -2's shoulder with his right hand, though both are standing erect. -3 is asleep in the upper left on the screen. So I assume in thumbnail 2, 3, 4, I guess it's an animal, because I highly doubt a child just just eat something like that. So thumbnail 902, the setting is the same room as thumbnail 600, discovered on the second test of SCP-1231, believed to have been created after exposure to thumbnail 419. -1 is lying on top of -2, smashing -3 on the floor. -2 is completely motionless. What am I reading? What kind of family is this? Thumbnail 1170. The setting is the same room as thumbnail 1053, discovered on the second test of SCP-1231. Believed to have believed to have been created after exposure to thumbnail 1004. -1, -2 are kneeling facing the camera, drenched in blood, crying and mouthing non-discernible words. What appears to be a mutilated corpse of -3 is lying in front of -2. A low-pitched laughter is audible throughout. This is fucked. This is so fucked. Due to the high level of similarity between SCP-1231 and other encountered soul traps, it has been deemed likely that the entities -1, -2, -3 are real in some capacity. In light of this, I am formally requesting that testing on this object be halted. Researcher, Ethics Committee. Addendum 2, testing on SCP-1231 has been suspended indefinitely. The majority of personnel assigned to SCP-1231 will be administered a Class B amnesiac and transferred. I'm so used to reading amnestic that amnesiac, I just ignored the different spelling completely, and transferred to a new project, 05. Addendum 3, processed video feeds of SCP-1231 have shown that the number of thumbnails is increasing despite the suppression of knowledge relating to SCP-1231. Something wrong, Doctor. This whole SCP, I can't believe it went from such a wholesome SCP with a hero is born to such a messed up one afterwards. it just jumped completely. Okay, here we go. Let me just. Here we go. Novosadov syndrome. I don't know what Novosadov is, but we can look up at least that word. Maybe Russian associated. Well, it's a football coach, so I'm not sure if it's. So I don't know what the hell. Man, we went from like such highly rated ones to such a low rated one, but this picture itself speaks words. Samples of SCP-1232 are to be kept in cryogenic storage on Bioresearch Site 21. While experimentation upon SCP-1232 is permitted, experimental proposals need to be validated by a researcher of valid 2/1232 clearance beforehand due to the limited supply. As of the 12th, 3rd, 1963, a process was devised to replicate SCP-1232 with reasonable efficiency. Oh wait, yeah. See document 1232 RAW. As such, experimental proposal only requires validation if it would be ordinarily required by the SCP Foundation Acquisition Guidelines Section C127 and H125. Dr. Mina section head. As the time required for a majority of SCP-1232 testing greatly exceeds 1 month, D-Class personnel involved in testing of SCP-1232 is exempt from monthly termination by default. Due to the resistance of SCP-1232 is to high temperatures, any item suspected of SCP-1232 contamination must be decontaminated by immersion in 1 molar NaOH solution and subsequent heating in a gravity displacement autoclave to 121 degrees Celsius for 30 minutes. That's very hot. Followed by sterilization as usual. See document Sigma for a complete list of approved procedures where it is stated as not appropriate personnel personnel manipulation. SCP-1232 stands to use level A hazardous materials, protective clothing manufactured to standard outlined in document SCP-1232 Sigma. Male instance of -1, second stage, formerly private V.I. Novosadov. Okay, so that's where the name came from. Now, I'm not sure if that's like a actual person. I mean, this image is probably from an actual person, but I'm not sure if the name is like legit, like if it's like a made up name or if that's an actual person in real life. As instances of -1 in the first stage are difficult to separate from the general population, the recommended means of identification of such is working through those related to known -1 instances, assuming the most common symptom progression. In this stage, the removal of reproductive organs seems to halt the progress of the condition, and the residual symptoms are susceptible to treatment by most tricyclic antidepressant. Instances of -1 in the second stage are essentially untreatable due to the extent of disruption to physiologic processes taking place. Furthermore, even if treated, their reintroduction to society will be problematic. As such, they are to be euthanized or left to expire on their own and cremated. Oh, it's not her. Damn it. Giveaways? I was hoping it was somebody else. Yeah, never mind. SCP-1232 is a designation given to the mixture of unknown proteins capable of causing a condition designated Novosadov syndrome. The mechanism upon which it relies is poorly understood at the moment. SCP-1232 is the designation given to the mixture of misfolded variants of redacted proteins, prions, capable of causing a condition designated Novosadov syndrome. The precise mechanism of action is unknown. Administration of isolated constituent prions or partial mixture to human subjects had no discernible effects or caused condition only weakly related to the syndrome symptoms. Well, wait to end this sentence. SCP-1232 does not denature easily by heat treatment alone and can withstand temperatures of up to 230 degrees Celsius for roughly 15 seconds. Heating with basic agents, preferably NaOH, KOH, or CaOH2 of normality, at least one has been shown effective. I suck at chemistry, so I have no idea what each of these ones mean. I only know H2O, okay, so... Novosadov syndrome is a progressively... I mean, I knew probably one day in high school about these, but I didn't pay attention that much in chemistry. Are you kidding? That was not my thing at all. Novosadov syndrome is a progressively developing condition caused by the introduction of a sufficient quantity of SCP-1232 into a human body. A dose of approximately 50 micrograms administered intravenously appears sufficient to cause the condition in 50% of tested D-class subjects. The onset of this condition can be split into two phases. During the first phase, which sets on approximately 1 to 3 weeks after the introduction of SCP-1232 into the subject's body, the subject, designated -1, will become increasingly prefrontal and depressed. Subjective assessment along with supporting evidence, an example, pineal plethysmography data show a significant decrease in ability to feel sexual arousal. Of interest is that the appetite tends to stay unchanged in a disproportionate amount of cases compared to control group where depression was induced chemically, and -1 during this phase has a tendency to gain weight, usually 10 to 15 kilograms over the duration. At this stage, no obvious psychological changes are present in males. Footnote, towards the end of the stage, approximately 22% of -1 will release SCP-1232 through sweating. In females, redacted instead of fluid. This phase tends to last between 6 to 8 months. The second phase onset is marked by a sudden loss of appetite, elevated body temperatures, insomnia, and increased secretion of androgens during the onset. -1 report a subjective improvement to the demeanor. Significant quantities of SCP-1232 are present in urine and possibly other body fluids in -1 at this point. In addition, the menstrual cycle of female subjects is disrupted with a large number of eggs beginning to mature and the uterine lining thickening. In approximately 3% of the subject, this results in acute endometriosis. Usually within the next few days, the libido of -1 will return and proceed to increase, becoming the defining trait of the behavior. In the case of male instances of -1, overwhelming even the survival instincts towards the end of the period. Now a footnote that says -1 can transmit SB1232 via sexual intercourse. This tends to occur successfully in approximately 25% cases under laboratory conditions. Instances of both genders will aggressively attempt to mate with any suitable human, often settling for animals or inanimate objects if none are available. Okay, male subjects tend to expire after a further 2 to 4 days due to the combination of exhaustion from lack of sleep and nutrition and the collapse of the immune system caused by excessive testosterone levels. Female -1 can be separated into 3 groups. Those in which fertilization occurs late or not at all tend to expire due to the same reasons as male subjects. If fertilization occurs early, the androgen levels tend to drop, and -1 behavior will slowly normalize over the following days. The subsequent progress depends on the number of fertilized ovocytes surviving. Is that how you say it? Ovocytes? Or ovocytes? I don't know. The ovocytes nest and appear to undergo development accelerated roughly 3 times compared to regular embryos. In 95% subjects, the amount 95% subjects, the amount of surviving ovocytes exceeds 20. And subjects likely expires during the first month of such pregnancy due to the resulting complications. The remaining 5% of subjects, the pregnancy progresses at the accelerated rate until the end of the second month, where the placenta, they look sponge sacs. Continuing to raise such feti in vitro is possible, and once outside the mother's body, the growth rate will slowly decrease to match that of feti in the same development stage. Infants raised this way to show no significant difference to control group. Recovery log. SB1232 was first isolated from the bodily fluids of Private V.I. Novostatov on 1954, several months after he, along with a group of Soviet soldiers, participated in the decommissioning of a then discovered underground facility located in the territory German Democratic Republic. God damn. At the time, the Foundation agents were unable to determine the precise location or contents of the facility. They obtained sense indicated it was emptied and demolished by agents of GRU Division P on 1955, and that the facility has formerly belonged to the Bayer pharmaceutical concerns at the time, a part of IG Farben conglomerate. See Addendum 1. Wait a minute. Oh, damn it! Still not the person I want. There we go. Private Novostatov was executed following his dissertation, capture and subsequent admission to 37 cases of rape and sodomy perpetrated in the village of Polish People's Republic in the vicinity of a Soviet military base over the course of 2 weeks. Agent Golovanov posthumously awarded Foundation Gold Star for his services by the time infiltrated within the Soviet army as a telegraphist, has managed to capture a coded depatch ordering the prompt incineration of Private Novosatov's remains and was able to obtain tissue samples and a copy of the autopsy report. The events following this are unclear to the agent Golovanov death. See Personnel File 1935 13 IPG. However, it is known that all of Novosatov's surviving victims disappeared approximately 2 months after his execution. Then 1 copy of message intercepted by Soviet agents on 1944. 1944, Dr. Tirmir, to Dr. Tirmir from Dr. Meitziger. Fritz, I need to talk about a project to administer again. I got shouted at the Berge again yesterday. Apparently they are expecting them to leap out of the mother's twat and grab a shovel or rifle. Well, we haven't even fixed the slow. I'm not even sure if Dr. Meitziger would be a German. Well, we haven't even fixed the slowdown. The rest of the troubles be damned. Hell, even if we get to work, a fourfold increase is the most I can get. I say it's long-term solution, not miracle work we're doing here. Besides, despite the redacted, yesterday's bombing raid means half of our supplies are in the devil's arse. And what's worse, Klaus was overseeing redacted, and a good half of the synthesis process was his work alone. Anyways, how will it go and send my greetings to Isla? She still works at Redacted, not so. As soon as we push the red swine out back again, and I'll be able to take a few days off, I'll jump on a train and come. Gott mit uns, Martin. The story of Noah Sadov is dark, and I can see that it seems to be like a very like dangerous. Not dangerous, but like it can definitely cause some weird bodily effects. But compared to what we read before, I can see why the rating is the way it is. But I still would say it also the rating deserves to be higher because of just of Noah Sadov's story itself, like what happened to him and all that stuff, and the picture. The picture is super dark. I think that deserves a bit more. Okay. Was this one The Lunatic? I mean, that's a hard title to think. Think something like creative with it. You know what I mean? Like, because usually, yeah. That is a hard title to think of something. Wait a minute. Did that? No, it didn't. Okay. Lunatic. I mean, aren't we all? Maybe not that, but I don't know. What would make a lunatic SCP like Lunatic? What would be needed to make an SCP like Lunatic? I just imagine a normal ass lunatic, but for some reason, like maybe whenever he says something, it does come true. So he says crazy shit, and then it does happen. But that sounds too much on the nose. It's keto. What? Well, I saw an astronaut, and then I saw the classification, and I was like, wait a minute, this guy's keto? And also, I know there's the pun called lunartic, as in like the moon. Let's see what this one is all about, eh? Disruption class and risk class danger. I mean, yeah. SCP-1233 anomalous physical properties all but preclude the possibility of primary containment. How long is this one? Oh god, oh god. This one has some meat to it. Oh, please don't tell me there's like... Oh god, is this like one of those... Are they all connected? I don't... This seems like... Yeah, it looks like it's all connected. Oh god. Okay, yeah, we can read them though. They're all pretty short by itself. Oh, this is gonna be a long stream, I can tell. Okay. SCP-1233's enormous physical properties all but preclude the possibility of primary containment, and as such, secondary containment measures are considered adequate until a feasible method of physical containment is devised. Foundation Satellites Observation Network Argos, Atmospheric Reconnaissance Global Observation System, to enter priority 2 high alert status 3 years and 6 months following the last observed SCP-1233 departure event. When Argus detects SCP-1233 in the upper thermosphere, a contingent form From any nearby covert amnestization and disinformation, mobile task force will be dispatched to the population center closest to the terminus of SCP-1233's descent trajectory. After the entity departure from Earth orbit, all appearances of and damages caused by SCP-1233 are to be accounted for with a suitable cover story in conjunction with media blackout, and any civilians having witnessed an overt display of SCP-1233's anomalous effects are to be amnesticized at MTF discretion. Mass amnesticization of the affected city may be authorized in the event of unusually prolonged SCP-1233 appearances. Up to October 5th, 2017, under no circumstances are Foundation personnel permitted to interact with or engage SCP-1233 in any capacity. Okay, so we have SCP-1233 circa 1986. So yeah, it seems to be an astronaut, but like, let's just go on and see what else this guy has to offer, shall we? SCP-1233 is a humanoid entity of unknown composition which visually resembles an individual wearing an EMU, which is Extra Vehicle Mobility Unit, a model or spacesuit worn by NASA and International Space Station crew members, type spacesuit, and with opaque visor and attached extravehicular propulsion jetpack. The equipment worn by SCP-1233 exhibits a number of anomalous properties. The suit itself has shown durability far exceeding that of a standard spacesuit. SCP-1233 has to date withstood small arms fire, anti-tank munition, landmines, white phosphorus munitions, and in one instance total submersion in magma without sustaining any observable damage or decrease in functionality. The suit material is also opaque to all attempted forms of penetrative scanning up to and including ultrasonic, radio, microwave, and X-ray emitters. The entity's jetpack, while ostensibly designed to be practical only in low-gravity orbital conditions and powered by a compressed nitrogen, instead appears to utilize some form of anomalously high-powered rocket propulsion system. This device can sustainably generate thrust capable of rapidly accelerating the entity to a maximum observed velocity of approximately 40,500 kilometers per hour. That's pretty fucking fast. Slightly greater than Earth surface level escape velocity. And can alter SCP-1233's trajectory in any direction at speeds and rates of deceleration that would be instantly fatal to any human. SCP-1233's physical strength is correspondingly anomalous. It has demonstrated the ability to lift and throw objects weighing up to 65,000 kilograms and can do so repeatedly without showing any external signs of fatigue in defiance of multiple physical laws. Are you guys dealing with Superman? What is happening here? SCP-1233 is capable of communicating through a loudspeaker installed in its suit, and does so in a loud, somewhat grandiloquent and declamatory male voice, demonstrating fluency in a number of languages and adjusting its speech to conform with whatever language is most commonly spoken by the surrounding populace. Its statements are generally coherent in structure, but are frequently rambling, oblique, irrelevant to the present situation, or lacking discernible context. Now here we have the SCP-1233's behavior is erratic, unpredictable, gregarious, cordial, and somewhat destructive, though its appearances are typically brief and infrequent, with sightings occurring only once per 4 to 5 years. So okay, so he comes up and decides to be like, I'm gonna wreck shit. And then he just leaves. I think I'm gonna read all this first before we start reading all this stuff. So let's go. An SCP-1233 arrival event will begin with the entity falling from an unknown height above the Earth's surface, generally at a terminal velocity comparable to that of a small meteorite or atmospheric re-entry vehicle. It's just Zod. This is just Zod in a spacesuit. SCP-1233 will exhibit the red-orange thermal radiance typical of these objects as a result of atmospheric friction, and as such, SCP-1233 is commonly mistaken for a meteorite or a shooting star during its descent. It would then crash land, causing a minor localized seismic event and a sizable impact crater. In almost all cases, SCP-1233 has landed a moderate distance away from the outer limits of the population center, usually a small to mid-sized town with a population not exceeding 30,000. Between 7 and 30 kilometers. Yeah, but still pretty close though. it will then. I mean, when you think about like the impact of that on Earth, that's still pretty close to a population. It would then climb out of the crater and travel toward the nearby town either via flight or on foot. Its route to the population center is usually not direct. SB1233 will frequently stop to engage in various activities, seemingly at random. Examples of observed detour behavior include inspecting various objects such as farm equipment, buildings, and plants, standing still for variable amounts of time, chasing small insects such as grasshoppers and butterflies, attempting to greet, converse with, or interrogate animals such as livestock and birds, pulling up root vegetables or picking fruit from bushes, trees, and pressing them forcefully into its closed visor in an apparent attempt to eat them, marching directly into bodies of water such as ponds and lakes, among others, normally not resulting in significant property damage. Upon reaching the town limits, SB1233 will engage in further activities which, due to its curiosity appearance, extreme physical strength, and lack of understanding of human societal conventions, will generally result in civil unrest and destruction of public and private properties. The following video transcript provides a typical example of SB1233 interaction with the local populace. Okay, here we go. Date August 9th, 2009. Security camera footage confiscated from Sam's Sweets, a bakery and cafe located in downtown Saratoga Springs. That's New York, right? USA. SB1233 opens front door and enters cafe. Behind the counter is an overweight bearded man identified as Bob Parsons, 32, co-owner of the establishment. Parsons raises his eyebrow upon SB1233's entry. Parsons, holy crap, dude, it's like... Holy crap, dude, it's like 90 degrees out there. I get being dedicated to your cosplay and all that, but goddamn. SB1233 approaches the register and salutes briefly. Oh, wait, is it a girl? Holy crap, dude. Well, now, too late now. That's his voice. That's her voice. Greetings, little girl. I am Moon Champion, Champ of the Moon, Defender of Space, Just and Destroyer of Evil. I've come once again to your charming world to learn more of your strange culture and to seek aid from my people in their ongoing war against the moon monsters. You appear to possess a vast wealth of the fabled nutrients and moisture for which this world is known throughout the galaxy. Are you the president of this planet? Pause. Parson laughs uproariously for approximately a minute and reaches into a display case below the counter while wiping tears away from his eyes. Holy fuck, man, that's the funniest shit I've ever heard in like at least a year. What's up, Moon Champion? I'm Bob. And you get a free cookie for making me bust a gut so hard I thought I was going to puke up my own spine. Here. Parson offers the cookie to SB1233. The entity takes it from the shopkeeper. Ah, one of your human parakeets, I see. Yes. I, Moon Champion, accept a small bird on behalf of the moon, and solemnly pledge to use the energy it provides to advance the cause of righteousness. Do you not know what a cookie is, Moon Champion? SB1233 rams the cookie into its unopened visor. The impact instantly destroys the confection and forcibly scatters crumbs in all directions. Delicious. I thank you, Lord President of Earth, for this generous gift, and may the light of justice forever shine upon your royal visage. The baker laughs again and begins eating the cookie of his own. No, it's cool, Moon Bro. I just cleaned that up later. Don't worry about it or anything. So there's monsters, sir, on the moon, and you fight them? Your understanding of the situation is flawless, my lord. Yes, the dreaded moon monsters have plagued and besieged my people for countless millennia. They are very terrible. Merely attempting to describe them to you would cause your human organs to shrivel in horror. and it is my sacred duty as Moon Champion to meet these nightmarish beasts in combat, and lead the Moon people in the defense of their imperiled homeland, the majestic and magnificent Moon Kingdom. Parsons continues eating his cookie and nods. So, you're like one of those alien dudes, the king or something? No. I am not one of the Moon people. I am Moon Champion. I will continue to serve the Moon people and wage glorious war against their enemies until my debt to the Moon King is repaid. But the Moon Kingdom is a land of peace and enlightenment. The Moon people having abandoned the pettiness of violence and bloodshed eons ago. They are ill prepared for the sudden advent of such a formidable foe, and the conflict goes poorly despite the valiant efforts of me, Moon Champion. And so I have come to once more to Earth, our closest neighbor, to seek whatever assistance lies within your damn meaty hearts. Throughout this monologue, SB1233's right arm has risen into air gradually until his hand is outstretched above his head. Parson points at it. Do you have a question? Yes, several. To start, are these puppies you have capable of withstanding the vacuum of space without additional shielding? I would like to befriend one and name her Moon Pup and take her with me on space adventures. You arm, dude. SB1233 pauses, then turns its head to look at its arm. Yes, it's become buoyant, and an aspect of your mighty balloons, another common side effect of your Earth atmosphere, similar to electricity and swarms of locusts. Either that or the laser beasts within this quadrant. I have studied the Earth quite extensively. Its phenomena are disgusting and incredible. Now, Lord President Mayor of Earth, will you answer the Moon King's call and assist us in a desperate battle against the Moon monsters? Time is of the essence. Time waits for no Moon Champion. I have asked it nicely. It did not listen. So like, as you can see, Moon Dude, as president, I have responsibilities. Supply depot here is the only source of food for my people, and I've got to, like, stay here, otherwise there'll be famine, like how it is, but I've ordered the citizens to lend a helping hand to anyone who asks, and, look, right outside, there's some. As 1233 turns to look out the glass door, there are passerby visible. Yes, of course. You have been most voluptuous, my liege. Farewell. Glorious and corpulent President, may you and your people remain moist in robbery. Moon Champion blasts off on wings of justice. SB1233 salutes once more and turns about much towards crashing directly through a section of concrete wall less than 10 feet from the establishment entrance. Imagine just walking through a fucking wall like, okay, bye. Others observed behaviors have included wandering into traffic, which due to its anomalous properties has resulted in lethal collisions. Yeah, of course, people just crash into it, and it just nothing happens to it, but everybody else gets injured. Breaking through the glass storefronts to handle or inspect wares on display, challenging a fire hydrant to a single combat, which is then destroyed via punching, stealing and gathering unattended bicycles, forming a pile of hundreds in the center of a public park, stacking park cars on top of one another, collecting as many dogs as possible and attempting to use them as currency to purchase more dogs. So it says he studied the Earth's culture, but he's clearly not fully aware how Earth works. Which is a problem. And more. SCP-1233's exploits invariably result in the local authorities being summoned by the citizenry. However, attempts by police to impede, detain, or arrest SCP-1233 are entirely ineffective and are ignored by the entity in the majority of cases. To date, SCP-1233 has not caused overt and deliberate harm to any civilian, though casualties and fatalities have occurred as a result of its unpredictable behavior and physical properties. After spending a variable amount of time, shows observed thus far for approximately 30 minutes and longest 7 hours, within a given municipality, SCP-1233 will abruptly activate its jetpack and ascend directly upward, reaching escape velocity and exiting Earth's atmosphere with greater speed than any non-anomalous vehicle on record. Ground-based and orbital telescope observation of recent SB1233 deposits have shown that its general outbound trajectory is consistent during each event. SB1233 exits Earth orbit and maintains velocity while adjusting course directly toward the moon. At its average speed of roughly 40,500 km per hour, the Indy enters lunar orbit within approximately 9 hours. It will overshoot slightly and adjust course, passing out of view and presumably either demanifesting somehow or landing on the far side of the moon. None of the SCP-1233's claims regarding the moon have been successfully verified. Since SCP-1233's initial appearance on February 6, 1986, Foundation Research Division have maintained constant surveillance of the moon in an attempt to acquire concrete proof of the statement. No evidence to indicate the existence of a moon kingdom, moon people, moon monsters, or any other moon-based extranormal objects or entities mentioned by SCP-1233 have ever been found. Terrestrial research personnel have maintained continual contact with Lunar Area 32 Provisional Research Station supervisors concerning all aspects of SCP-1233 since its initial registry, hypothesizing that Area 32's powerful and comprehensive Sentinel array would be capable of confirming or refuting SCP-1233's allegation with ease. Not only have lunar-based personnel consistently failed to uncover any indication that SCP-1233 assertions are authentic, in any way, but no anomaly or objects matching SCP-1233's description has ever been recorded by Sentinel's hundreds of detectors, despite the existence of a multitude of Earth-based telescopic video recording which clearly show SCP-1233 entering the inner bound of Sentinel optimal sensor range and flying directly over the Lunar Area 32. Lunar personnel were only made aware of the entity's existence in the SCP registry upon terrestrial command's request that they transmit all data concerning SCP-1233's first appearance to Earth for storage and analysis. 3 hours following the entity's disappearance, no such data existed. No definite explanation for this observational discrepancy has been found. Addendum 1. During SCP-1233's most recent arrival event on October 5th, 2017, SCP-1233 addressed a male civilian in downtown Hereford, England, later identified by recovered security camera footage as Harry Godsell, 27. SCP-1233 approached Godsell and asked him if he would be willing to join the fight against the moon monsters as opposed to each observed iteration of this interaction thus far, in which the civilian petitioned by SCP-1233 either disregarded the question or answers in the negative. Godsell sardonically replied, "Oh, absolutely, you fucking know it. I'm ready to go right now. Got my toothbrush and everything. Let's fly space, man." SCP-1233 responded, "At last, a brave warrior hiding in plain sight amidst these pastoral and bucolic humans. Let us away, fair meat fellow, and earn the..." I'm having a deja vu. "This day you brush your tooth amongst the stars. We fly." Then he lurched toward and embraced Godsell, then activated his jetpack. The resonant boom shattered every atom of glass within a 300-meter radius as SCP-1233 accelerated to a projected velocity of 25,000 kilometers per hour within approximately 4 seconds. Ascending to a low orbit with Godsell in tow. Due to the unexpected timing of this event, observational satellites were unable to properly focus upon SCP-1233 during the early stages of its exit trajectory. As such, Godsell's presence and status were unable to be visually confirmed. After the amnestation of all Hereford citizens witnessing this event, Godsell was officially declared missing, then pronounced dead 3 months later. The condition and whereabouts of his remains are currently unknown. Yeah, he's somewhere in space, man. He's fucking... If he was a subsequent part of this SCP and nobody knew, or if he was a regular human being, he's either gone forever or he's fucking dead the moment they flew off. Okay, now we can read all these. So I assume there's just gonna be more stories of how like wacky he is, but I'm definitely reading. So the first one is Erratic 2 Lost Souls. Aha, another mighty explorer of the boundless cosmos, perhaps even the champion of the earth, shouted Moon Champion, gazing upon the limp body of a figure much like himself. Okay, that's actually an LSB. Good. Fuck, thank God. I don't want to read it. I didn't want to add another layer of work for myself. She still hasn't seen it. God. Okay, let's go on. Moon Champion couldn't have been more excited. I mean, these are pretty short, so. Giant Slot, please be an SCP. Okay, good. Oh my God. Okay. Moon Champion couldn't have been more excited in his life. No person on Earth, whether willing or otherwise, had been strong enough to endure the cold, dark vacuum of space. Yet in the bounds of Earth's orbit lay a soldier ready for battle, waiting for his chance to shine. It was time to have a true partner. For the fate of the moon and the moon people, cheered Moon Champion as he propelled himself to the resting figure. The man sped around the Earth quickly, but Moon Champion was faster. Greetings, Moon Champion announced loudly. I am the champion of the moon, conqueror of all space evil, defender of the moon people, and proud general above the Moon King. I see you are a courageous warrior in the utmost troubling condition of Earth's orbit, and I'd like for you to be my partner in destroying the moon monsters that plague the humble moon kingdom. The figure stared back, though Moon Champion couldn't see its eyes through the crazed and foggy visor, so there was no way of telling if he could stare at all. Moon Champion floated there puzzled for a moment before resuming his speech. I see you are blinded in the ears, but that is quite alright. The Moon Dogs have excellent technology that will heal your condition. Come with me quickly. Moon Champion attempted to pull away the opening man, yet he wouldn't budge. Moon Champion was mighty strong, yet whatever the man was, or what was pulling him away was stronger. Moon Champion signed to the lost figure. Please, CCCP, if that is your name. The moon monsters are monstrous beings. Do you not know that? Some are tall, some are small, some are thick, sludge with others, while others stay coated in fur. All of them will devour each and every moon person if nothing is done soon. You must travel with me and battle these formidable foes before the Moon Kingdom is Moon Champion paused, and he paused for a long time. CCCP's hand in his clutch. What if the Moon Kingdom is lost, thought Moon Champion. I've been away from it for so long, attempting to find a brave soul who could battle alongside me, but what of myself? I've done nothing. Nothing! Null! And void is my activity on the moon! For how long have I been exploring the cosmos? For how long have I been living? 1,000 years? 100 years? One? A day? And what have I found? The same old simpletons, exchanging their dogs, eating their televisions, checking the time on their wrist discs. Is that what he thinks that we do? Moon Champion stared into the eyes of the CCCP, a slow sob sounding from the champion speaker. What am I a champion of? said Moon Champion, slowly facing towards the moon. An old forgotten kingdom, or no kingdom at all. The moon cold giant space frog. For a second, Moon Champion had a hard time distinguishing the two. He looked back at CCCP, the blackness of its visor reflecting the darkness of the stars. Yet in the middle of the beat-up visor lay that cold giant space rock. As Moon Champion stared more and more, the moon shimmered. The reflection became clear to him. What fool am I to even conceive that the Moon Kingdom and its people are but a figment of my imagination? Moon Champion yelled as he began propelling himself back to the moon. I am Moon Champion, champion of the moon, and I will stop at nothing until I can find a suitable partner to eliminate all moon monsters. As CCCP began flailing about as if to signify a danger present on Earth, Moon Champion finally let him out of his grasp. Go on, Earth Champion, fight your Earth dangers. You're serving your planet well. Moon Champion salutes CCP as he drifted away once more, never to see the Moon Champion again. Take care, new friend, take care. Now I believe I see a giant slug over in the distance. Moon Champion away. Shouted Moon Champion as he booted in the direction of his new sighting. And then we have a dream. I dreamed a dream, which is the unpredictable part. Oh boy. Please, okay, so there's actually one that we read before. I hope it's just no like multi stuff. You know what I mean? Those NCSB, yeah. That one we can also ignore. Old Rob, that must be okay. So the only SB that we have seen here is A52. Lunar anomaly. Lunar anomaly. I forgot what this one is, and this one sadly is the only one that's not fully fleshed out. Let me just see. It's a steel and brass vehicle. I did make a thumbnail for this one. The moment precious. Ah, yeah. I remember this. Okay. Okay, it's back to Dream. And that's how I single-handedly defeated and destroyed a large, lengthy, luminescent moon lizard using the sacred moon saber, proclaimed Moon Champion, who had just finished an awfully long story about his triumphs of the moon monsters. Sadly, the moon saber was lost in the beast's leathery skin, and one of our vigilant moon warriors was subject to... Yeah, because didn't he have like a fucking sword? Yeah, it was subject to a brutal stabbing. Was subject to a... I know one of the alien things had like a blade, but this was at the end of the day. The Moon Kingdom came out on top. Moon Champion finally stopped to rest after his 14-day-long exposition. You know, Slug Companion, you are an excellent listener and an exquisite bed, albeit a bit slippery, said Moon Champion. Indeed, his newfound friend has not interrupted him once the entire time he delivered his story, along with serving as a comfortable service to lay on. Moon Champion raised his hand to the bottom of his visor, pondering deeply something that had been troubling him for a long time. I hope you don't mind another tangent, but I really need to get something off my chest, said Moon Champion. His soft friend has no objection. It concerns a dream I had a long time ago, perhaps 3 months in the past, before I met you, before I met even CCCP. I am of the firm belief that it means something of substance. Moon Champion used a rather quiet voice, quieter than his usual tone that it is. He sat down and began his account. In my dream, I woke up in a complete and utter blackness. The earth has disappeared, the stars had flickered out. It was the darkest dark I ever witnessed. As if my eyes had disappeared, I looked below me, and there it lay, the great moon, bright as ever, despite the complete absence of stars. As I stared at this beacon, the only source of light in my universe, I began to fall. I fell down and down, plummeting ever closer to the moon's surface. Moon Champion lay down, staring at the infinite cosmos. In that moment, I must admit, I was scared. Scared for my safety, scared for the universe's fate, scared of the great darkness. Yet, at the same time, I had hope. In the end, while all else was gone, the moon remained an unconquered dominion, the last defender of the light in the blank void. And as it came closer and closer, I no longer felt fear. I felt immense, unchallenged, joyful happiness. I hit the surface and I woke up. Moon Champion sat back up, slowly and calmly, while the peaceful giant that he sat upon continued listening with open ears. I hope I do not bore you. Indeed, I have a long-term memory, and I can often lengthen details to my steam minute to other more simple organisms. Just that moment, Moon Champion picked up a signal on his radio and heard what sounded to be a soft, drawn-out wail of a magnificent creature. What a brilliant song! Moon Champion exclaimed aloud. Perhaps the cry of a mighty solar can. What an occurrence! What is your opinion, Slug Companion? Although Slug Companion couldn't speak, the way his mouth curved appeared to Moon Champion as a smile. Moon Champion was content. As soothing wails continued, Moon Champion laid upon his blubbery partner and he quietly fell asleep. Upon waking up, Moon Champion found himself under the soft covers of a white bed contained within the confines of a sleek, ghostly room. Despite his heightened awareness upon his awakening, Moon Champion could not move. Instead, remained fixed upon his fabric, non-blubber pad. Busy people in white he's in the foundation! White coats rushed about in his room, entering one side and exiting the other. Moon Champion noticed a label on top of one of the doors reading Lunar Area 32, Room 32 for hours. For hours, Moon Champion stared out paralyzed, watching people rush by, clipboards in hand, yet they made no sound. A room only still in sound, not in content. The hours went by excruciatingly slow. He got fucking captured because he slept on another SCP. Then, without warning, the figures appeared in front of him. They appeared to come from nowhere. One moment they weren't dead, and the next moment they were. A group of people standing in a huddle stared at Moon Champion. All of these visible to Moon Champions were suits similar in design to his own. Some wore white, some wore orange, others wore canvas suits with brass helmets. Who are you people? What do you seek of me? Asked Moon Champion with a newfound ability to speak. A man in a blue suit and cracked voice spoke aloud. We are the old guard. We are the old guard. We have served our purpose. You are the last line of defense. Was I the only Moon Champion? Was I the only Moon Champion? Questioned Moon Champion. You are now. The moon is vulnerable without you, said the figure in blue, speaking in a youthful, proud voice. Oh, youthful? Well, too late now. This is the voice I gave him. Then, one by one, each member of the old guard walked up next to the Moon Champion, holding his hand in the grass before setting it down and disappeared. One man in a brass helmet stared at Moon Champion for a few seconds before telling him, "You did your best." Then subsequently disappeared. Eventually, one man was left, yet he had no suit nor helmet. He was simply an old robed man walking wearily with a nightcap and a cane. The old man sat on Moon Champion's bed. A threat faces the moon. One faces the earth as well. The earth has a defender. You've met him. Now you must do the same, said the old man. I have a number of questions, remarked Moon Champion, although in a quiet, respectful tone. My time here is limited. You can find me where you fell, remarked the old man, before he collapsed on the same bed Moon Champion rested on. Moon Champion stared on for a few seconds before suddenly waking up on his slug companion. Moon Champion panicked for a couple of seconds before gathering his sense. He realized what he must do. Slug companion, you have been an excellent listener of stories and cushions of explorer, but I must go. I cannot explain at the current moment, but if you don't hear from me again, beware that the moon will be in good hands. As Moon Champion activated his jetpack, he stared at the moon, thinking about his dream. Old man, here I come, Moon Champion. Moon Champion, away! Cheered Moon Champion as he charged forward to where his destiny lied, where he had neglected for so long, the moon. Ooh, this is gonna be a long read, man. This is gonna be a long, long read. Now the Gregorius. How long is this? Okay. Let's go. Moon Champion hardly had a moment to check his visor before he abandoned his squishy friend in search of the old man he had seen in a dream. The old man's instructions were cryptic, but Moon Champion knew his way from another dream he had experienced. The visions of slumber have aligned in my favor. I know exactly where I must go, remarked Moon Champion as he propelled himself toward a large crater upon the moon's surface. He was reaching a velocity never before accomplished by himself, his capabilities being pushed to the max. As he began reaching closer and closer to the ground, he could see a spot of green in the distance. A bubble of vibrancy in my grey, humble abode. This must be the location of the moon in ropes. Of the man in ropes. Going crazy of reading Moon Champion over and over again. Shouted Moon Champion before crashing into the spot. Stumbling through his crash site and finally gaining his bearings, Moon Champion finally had the ability to see his surroundings. Moon Champion was overwhelmed. Beautiful tall structures of brown and green stood before him. A layer of soft green blades covering the ground. Are these magnificent structures the fabled highlighters of humankind? Pounded Moon Champion aloud before hearing the footsteps of another figure within the area. No, these happen to be oak and ash trees, though they are quite popular on Earth. At a very old voice, Moon Champion turned around to see the old man, still in his robe, step out of a peculiar structure in the other side of the grove. Great old man in robes, please. Please, Moon Champion shouted before being interrupted by the elder. Please, my name is Niperius, and I'm not just an old man but a great wizard of the moon, exclaimed Niperius. Moon Champion stepped back in shock. Please, I'm quite bewildered at the moment, but you are Niperius, the Niperius, ancient wizard and moon king? Questioned Moon Champion. Why yes, it's been a while since I've met a moon warrior. That's why I let you in, told Niperius, who sat down on a mossy stone. Those other people over at the high-tech facility just don't seem to comprehend the moon history quite like us. But wait, said Moon Champion, why have you called upon me to meet you at your base of operation? Most have never even gazed upon this land. Niperius gazed down at the ground before saying, Please join me in my home. There's much to discuss. There's much discussing to do. Niperius stood up and walked back to his tiny establishment as Moon Champion followed. Niperius and Moon Champion both sat down on stools within the house, and a cat soon entered the small house with a piece of meat in his hand. Niperius gladly accepted the meat, saying, I hope you don't mind Commodore Buckle staying with us. As Commodore Buckle curled up in the corner of the room. Not in the slightest, answered Moon Champion. Niperius began to tell a story, and a cloud began to form above their heads. Near the facility where the Earthlings lay base, there exists a cavern within it a face. With the wave of Niperius' hand, a cavern appeared within the cloud, with the cavern containing a swarm of flying objects, changing shape and orbiting the darkness inside. The face is ancient, a different time and different space, and while those like it remains as patterns, the face is entering our place. A figure suddenly appeared within the confines of the cavern, tentacle-like appendages extended in and out from within. He changes all he touches, destroys all he can see, and with enough exposure, the moon will be debris. The cloud suddenly extended out to view of the whole moon, subsequently disappearing in a flash. Moon Champion flinches a bit, his hands quivering. While moon people remain in hiding, the old god attempts an attack. Each and every member is absorbed into the black. The cloud reforms show the moon warriors from the Moon Champion dream charging into the cave, each one disintegrating and turning into nothingness. You're the only one left. You were the only one away, and although you've been gone for far too long, it's here where you will stay. The cloud forms into a sword, falling into the Moon Champion's hands. This weapon is from ages past, a different universe. It can do most anything when worst comes to worst. Moon Champion raises the sword, revealing it to have the weight of a feather. Yet Moon Champion could sense great power from the sword as it forged from the fabric of the universe. The guardian of our universe, one of the previous seven, is growing old and tired and ready to ascend to heaven. It's called upon multiple knights, some you have seen before, to care and defend the planets in case of cosmic war. Moon Champion recalled his friend CCCP was circling the Earth, struggling in invisible battle. He was Earth Champion, defending against the unseen menace of this planet, the monster of the cosmos. The knights call upon you now, sir, the remaining Moon Champion, to defend the moon against cosmic foes as new guardian. Niperius suddenly grabbed Moon Champion's arm. The time has come to depart this land and guard the evil cave. With your grand sword, you'll defend the moon against an untimely grave. And though this may seem sudden, you seem most unsteady. I have one last question. Are you ready? To rock! Yes, I am, proclaimed Moon Champion. In a split second, the humble structure has been displaced by the sight of the grey moon and black sky. Behind him he could sense a powerful force, like a giant hurricane was swarming over his head. He had the urge to look back, but Niperius took his gaze. Remember, Niperius said slowly, don't look back. This is your fate. In a breath, Niperius had disappeared, and Moon Champion was left alone with sword in hand. Moon Champion had a chance to breathe, yet he was constantly on guard with the cavern at his back. Any moment, all hell could break loose. In a way, it was the worst fate to have, stuck in a position of no return, on the edge of cosmic chaos, left to defend the world against a monster he couldn't even understand. Yet Moon Champion felt satisfied. He had long searched for a companion to do battle with the moon monsters, yet he had never considered that he had to search within himself the courage to go back. The courage to fight the monsters directly, though he was left in a constantly still position and always facing away from the monster he had in a way tamed the greatest moon monster of all. Though it all, he had wondered where he came from and why he was made. But in the end, it didn't matter. All that mattered was that he was a hero. had made the ultimate sacrifice to become Moon Guardian, the sacrifice of freedom to allow the freedom of others. Though the radio came the voice of a man speaking Russian far away from the moon, it said, You've done it, comrade. You've done it. And Moon Guardian was content. And now the last one, which is cordial. A bright streak. Okay, this is hopefully. Oh god, it's not short, but I mean it's not long, but it's also not short. A bright streak illuminated the darkening. The next 6 SCPs better be fucking short. The darkening autumn sky over Boring, or there's a place called Boring in Oregon. Though the citizens were no stranger to the weird fiery projectile of destruction was definitely not normal to them. A kangaroo causing earthquake? Sure. Singing and dancing bear? Yeah, of course. A sea serpent constructor of thousands of small fish? Must be a Tuesday. But an astronaut hurling towards the suburbs at Mach 5 speed? Now that was sure to wind up on the 11 o'clock news. Crush! The spacesuit landed face first in the local league soccer field, effectively turning the area into a mud pit sure to light the local mud riders and bring endless disappointment to the Boring Bears Soccer League. But this is not a story about mothers and some brats playing soccer. This is a story about a righteous defender of good values in his quest to celebrate Chico de Mayo among the good people of Earth. A vaguely human figure rose in the center of the newly created mud field. It took a moment to violently shake off the filth which had been bathed in, revealing a white spacesuit with a black visor. 2 small streams of flame erupted from its backpack, propelling him above the gunk and moving up and away to survey the area. The upward arc suddenly stopped and the threat was sighted a block away. Die, scum! Die, scum! Pay for your crimes! Within a second, an unassuming fire hand was cut down with a swift kick in the prime of its life. Your first mistake was crossing Moon Champion's path. So he just attacked a fire hydrant. That's good to know. Why are you back on Earth? Go to the moon! High pressure waters erupted from the hole which used to be Johnny Pump, bathing Moon Champion and cleansing off whatever mud remained on him. He basked in the blood of his enemy for a moment, admiring his reflection in the pool forming at his feet. It seemed that he had arrived just in the nick of time, as what seemed to be 2 Earth children were rapidly approaching. Hold, children! Tread lightly as the blood of this sandwich infects the ground surrounding me. There's no need to thank me, but I caution you to advance with haste, for one never knows when the sandwich menace will arise again. Its cold, twisted knobs and threatening red color. I shudder to think what would happen to you sweet, sweet Earth children should you be attacked. The youngster stared in confusion at the figure before them. Before the taller of the 2 took hold of the other's hand. Come on, Lily. Mom said we shouldn't talk to strangers unless we were trick-or-treating. The young girl dressed in a pink tutu and tie looked up at the unaccustomed brother and nodded, following behind him. Munchkin looked on, watching the 2 carefully sidestep the ever-growing pool of sandwich blood he had spilled. Wait, children, I must inquire upon you. What kind of one engaged in the Cinco de Mayo festivities? I wish to partake in the culture of the Earth. Fighting space villainy gets exhausting, and even I, Moonshine, must take a break. You're in the wrong place, bucko. I mean, not really, but, you know. What Cinco de Mayo? The girl asked him to look at the strange, funny man behind them. Her older brother tried dragging her along, but her short legs and curiosity simply couldn't keep up with his pace. Their hands separated and she slipped, dropping her jack-o'-lantern and spilling the contents onto the ground. Lily's face quickly flushed and eyes filled with tears as the brother quickly entered damage control mode. Don't worry about it. Come on, don't cry. We can get you more candy," pleaded, trying to console his sibling and scooping up whatever candy was still salvageable into the orange bucket. Moonshine looked on, disgusted at the grisly scene. Why were those children carrying the disappointed heads of bulls and stuffing them with eggs? Was this common Cinco de Mayo etiquette? It disgusted him, but he had come to participate in festivities, not to judge. Maybe he could help his ailing citizens and participate at the same time. A moon is it Halloween? It's Halloween right now, right? A moonlight bulb switched on in the mighty hero's helmet. He had a genius idea. Compared to the Earth's mud, apple juice for what the fuck? You there, Earth child, he pointed at the yellow boy. What? I need to be home soon. My little sister's crying. Go bother someone else. Moonshine took a step forward and leaned towards grabbing one of the girl's spilled candy. He took a moment to examine it before smashing the sealed package of M&Ms into his visor. Bits and pieces of crushed chocolate goodness and plastic wrapping were littered everywhere. Lily, who had stopped crying at this point, was still quite sad, and her brother looked up in sheer confusion once again as the lunatic brought a gloved hand to where his chin would presumably be onto the visor. I have reached the conclusion that your Earth eggs are a primary delicacy, and this child is justified in her weeping. To lose these is a tragedy. I, Moon Champion, hereby vote to obtain more eggs for you, child. Tell me, how does one partake in the gathering of eggs in this bull's head? The elder sibling watched the strange God damn, this guy misunderstands everything. Pick up the jack-o'-lanterns and examine it, pondering if this would too be met with his visor. Was he asking for advice on how to trick-or-treat? What kind of reader doesn't know how to trick-or-treat? Either way, this might work out for him. He had to be home in 20 minutes with Lily, or he wouldn't be able to play video games for a week. But he couldn't go back empty-handed. He had to trust this guy as weird as he was. Well, first you need a costume. A disguise? What tomfoolery? I'm too honorable for such activities. I'm sworn out of the moon. Look, dude, apparently disgusting was a way of life for him. He picked up his sister, tear her off the sidewalk, and offered it to the astronaut. Put it on your head. Moon Chapman accepted the plastic crown, but was reluctant to don it. To do so would be an act of high treason on the moon, and he was no treasonist. But then again, he had come to Earth to celebrate Cinco de Mayo. But when in Sigma 5, do as a Sigmarian 5Ts with an hesitant hand, Moon Champion gracefully placed it here on the top of his visor. I feel gorgeous. Lily giggled, wiping a tear from her face. Her brother rolled his eyes. Now all you need to do is go to the house and knock on the door. Make sure you say trick or treat too. And please hurry up. We already hit this whole neighborhood, so they're not going to give us candy again. And I have my friends waiting for me on Fortnite. So please hurry. Oh God. Fortnite is being fucking mentioned, of course. This must be a recent entry then. Yeah, I've been given this task, collect eggs for the children. This will be an excellent opportunity to learn about the culture of Earth without a moment to hesitate. Moon Champions. Halloween is the worst thing for an alien-like creature to try to like understand our culture. It's like the most. That's like the most confusing thing to hop into. Without a moment to hesitate, Moon Champion jetpack and he quickly charged through the side of the house, immediately to his right. Lily giggled merrily as his brother looked on in horror. The shrieks of panic and terror being murmured for Hardy. I demand treats, lest you be tricked. 5 minutes and 20 hours with spacesuits shaped holes in the later, Moonshine approaches his two loyal friends with a bull's head overflowing with eggs. He handed the young girls a bucket who stared in awe. There is more candy than I could ever eat. Consuming raw eggs is ill-advised, Earthchild. The hero removed his tiara, gently placing it on top of his head once more. Silence became audible in the distance, and the other of the two children became increasingly panicked. We should go. Thank you, guy. Bye. Moon Champion put his hand at his waist, smiling underneath his helmet. Another day, another job well done. Plus, he had learned of the traditions of Earth, who knew that the traditional response to trick-or-treat would be, get out of my house or I'm calling the police. Not he, but now he was wiser and more culturally enriched. He watched the children scurry away before looking up to his home in the sky. A call to him. Moon Champion away! And with that, the lunatics Cinco de Mayo came to a close as he saw to the moon above. God, that was a long ass read. Like I said, I hope the next ones are short, cause goddamn, I need to take a sip of water for this one. It's almost midnight. Usually, at almost midnight, I would be reading the last 3 ones. Not this time. No. This time they decided to like add a fucking Bible to the mix. Okay. Jesus, an abandoned. That took me an hour to read. An abandoned bakery. We had one cake-related SCP that, like, if you don't eat it quickly, it will duplicate itself. Or if you eat it wrong, or if like something falls out, it can endlessly duplicate itself, which can cause the whole Earth to be covered in cake. Maybe it's the factory it came from. Maybe. Keita, God, 2 keys in a row, nice. Ownership of the building housing SCP-1234, designated Site 602, is currently held by a Foundation Front company. All the former tenants of Site 602 have been evicted. The Foundation to lease with local government and businesses interests to prevent any attempts to purchase, redevelop, or condemn Site 602. Plainclothes security personnel to monitor SCP-1234 were inactive to prevent unauthorized access. Electronic monitoring equipment is to be installed in SCP-1234 and throughout Site 602. Whenever monitoring indicates that an SCP-1234 event is imminent, all Foundation personnel to evacuate Site 602. A Foundation Front Company Southside Commissary products is to make a delivery to SCP-1234 within 6 hours, containing at least 50 kilograms each of all-purpose white flour and vegetable shouldering, as well as 200 to 400 kilograms of any other available products approved as per document 1234-746-C. Following conclusion of an SCP-1234 event, Foundation personnel re-enter Site 602. All instances of -1 are to be identified and removed for study and disposal. All monitoring equipment is to be examined and replaced as necessary following a confirmation that SCP-1234 has been fully secured. Concurrent to re-entry, Southside Commissary products shall canvass all purveyors of baked goods within a 5-kilometer radius of SCP-1234 and confiscate any uncontained instances of -1. In the event that a delivery is not made by the time SCP-1234 enters active phase, mass distribution of amnestics to the civilian population is authorized, and Procedure Queen of Hearts may be enacted as necessary as at O5 discretion. SCP-1234 is the former premises of Schmidt's Swiss Pastry. Oh, it's Swiss. Nice. A bakery and tea room that operated in Chicago. Hey, how do you say Swiss and then be in fucking America? Illinois? Is that Illinois? I don't know. IL. From 1947 to 2003, the interior of SCP-1234 remains fully furnished and possesses working electricity, hot and cold running water, and natural gas. SCP-1234's ovens and kitchen equipment remain fully functional, though appearing to be in a severe state of disrepair due to the age and neglect. All attempts to remove or disconnect SCP-1234's kitchen equipment or utilities have been unsuccessful. Under normal circumstances, SCP-1234 is inert on an irregular basis, ranging from an observed minimum of 2 days to an observed maximum of 17 months. 12 days, SCP-1234 becomes active prior to becoming fully active. SCP-1234 exhibits a warm-up period lasting from 12 to 36 hours. Phenomena indicates the onset of an SCP-1234 event include heavy electromagnetic fluctuation within a 100-meter radius of Site 602, interference and malfunctioning of monitoring equipment, electrical blackouts, brownouts on the city block Site 602 is located on, lights and electrical devices within SCP-1234 activating and deactivating spontaneously, unexplained disappearance of humans and animals within a 300-meter radius of Site 602, and redacted. SCP-1234 will become fully active within no more than 36 hours of the commencement of the warm-up phase. To date, active phase has always initiated between the hours of 23 and 3:30 local time. Once fully active, SCP-1234's window will become fully opaque, all doors and windows become completely impenetrable, and all monitoring equipment located within SCP-1234 ceases to function. All attempts to enter SCP-1234 during an active phase have failed, and no persons inside SCP-1234 when an active phase commences have been found alive at its conclusion. Active phase has been documented to last from 4 to 10 hours, but will always conclude by 9 local time. Upon the conclusion of an active phase, the shelves, counters, tables, and display cases of SCP-1234 will have been stocked with approximately 200 to 500 freshly baked shortbread crust pies designated -1. All instances of -1 measure 22.8 centimeters in diameter and weigh approximately 0.75 kilograms each. Pies produced by SCP-1234 will make use of any biological ingredients provided to it, whether living or not at the time. Living or not at the time of event, including fruits and vegetables, non-edible plants, insects, fish, poultry, red meat, and human beings. Yep. It just takes whatever it is. Just like, there's just a little bit of aluminium, a little bit of plastic, and then a couple of spiders. Pah! SCP-1234 will not, however, make use of any ingredients that are spoiled, stale, or of unsatisfactory condition for use in baking. Instances of -1 will not be recycled into the new instances when a new event begins. All instances of -1 are at time of discovery cooled to room temperature, contained in a disposable aluminum pie plate and covered with a transparent plastic lid. Aside from the means by which they are produced, -1 bear no anomalous properties and may be eaten safely, providing that the ingredients used in its manufacture are safe to eat. On 17 occasions since observation began, instances of -1 have been found outside of SCP-1234 following conclusion of active phase. On all such occasions, the pies were found on the shelves of supermarkets, convenience stores, and other foods vendors within a 5-kilometer radius of SCP-1234 and have been labeled with a UPC readable by the vendor point of sale system. No determination has been made as to how the pies were transported from SCP-1234 to the location where they were found. If there's not a sufficient supply of ingredients available within SCP-1234 when active phase commences, SCP-1234 will consume ingredients stored outside itself. Flour, shortening, and other biological matter is relocated into SCP-1234 and beginning with the closest matter available and being attracted from an increasingly greater distance until the necessary amount of ingredients has been acquired. The means by which material is acquired or transported into SCP-1234 is unknown due to the population density of the area in which SCP-1234 is located. No uncontained event have been allowed to occur since containment began. Foundation containment of SCP-1234 began in 2006 following several reports of dozens of persons and animals disappearing within the downtown Chicago area. Local police traced the disappearance to the neighborhood in which SCP-1234 is located. My mouth is all sort of fucked up after reading SCP-1233, so upon noticing an unusual scent emanating from the abandoned storefront now identified as SCP-1234, police breached the front door and discovered approximately 7,300 instances of -1 within, many of which were several months old and had spoiled. When police attempted to determine to identify of the persons responsible reached a dead end, and the police liaison contacted the Foundation, which assumed jurisdiction and following an additional event which resulted in several more disappearances, placed SCP-1234 under containment. Interviews with persons who worked at SCP-1234 prior to 2003 and with the previous owners of Site 602 stated that the cause of its closing abruptly in April of that year was not known to them, and that they had never observed any unusual or anomalous events occurring within the property prior to 2006. Everything is pie, basically. Okay. Atlas Microcosm. When I think of Atlas, I always think of the Titan holding the Earth. Microcosm. I forgot what the microcosm means. Also, my brain's fucking dead. So yeah. Oh wait. Also, let's do that again. Atlas Microcosm. Don't know what it is. There. Had to do the stopwatch thing before I forget. not too long, thank God. Euclid. SCP-1235 currently occupies a laboratory desk in examination room 3, which has been converted into a containment cell. SCP-1235 should be kept. I'm going to read a bit faster because it is midnight now. SCP-1235 should be kept under high-resolution video surveillance, and any developments... SCP-1235 should be kept under high-resolution video surveillance, and any developments cataloged, any expansion of the Austrian installation around SCP-1235 or the macroscopic activity should be considered a breach attempt in progress and the area lockdown immediately. In the event of a breach attempt by any more international actors within SCP-1235, all ventilation systems throughout Site-25 are to be shut down. During a breach event, SCP-1235 should be considered a chemical, biological, and out of containment breach -3 radiological hazard. -1 is to be kept in a secure storage when not in use. SCP-1235 is a large illustrated German language atlas of the world. Andres Allgemeine Handatlas. Handatlas? Yeah, okay. Yeah, because atlas means map. As well. It also means map. So, okay. The title page claims that the atlas to have been printed by Wellhagen and Klossing in 1903 as the third revision of 1899 fourth edition. The publisher has no record of this printing. Initial recovery indicated that the pages handles normally and otherwise be non-anomalous. On a microscopic analysis, however, details such as state name, city location, and shading for discrete political entities failed to appear. Instead, a higher magnification that atlas depicts a photorealistic satellite view of the magnified area. Oh, okay. Like it's basically like a Google Maps then, on a map, an actual map. -1 is a brass achromatic microscope, outwardly consistent with equipment contemporary to SCP-1235's stated date of publication, stamped with the legend Adler Auge Eagle Eye. MCMVs. So that must be like the Roman numbers, which are millennia? No. Century, Its internal workings, however, are highly complex and this could be 1907. Is that what it is? Maybe. Let me actually see. Let me actually see if I'm right. I would love if I'm right. 1907. I was right. Nice. Oh, that's awesome. Because I was like, yes, M is mille, which is a millennia. C is centurio, and then of course 7. And if you put an M after the C, which is the same as like putting like the 1, the I, and then the V, right, which means 4 because that's before 5, and 5 is the V. The same logic with C and M. So because it's so that's 1000. And it's 100 away before it becomes another millennia. So 900. I'm so happy I figured that out so fast. That's awesome. Okay. Its internal workings, however, are highly complex and constitute an innovative method of magnification that relies on superposition of light via microscopically perforated baffle. The construction of this baffle is beyond known manufacturing methods at the time of -1's ostensibly construction. In normal operation, -1 maximum magnification is approximately 1000x when viewing. SCP-1235, however, its instrumentation permits far greater increases in magnification. No upper limit has been established on -1's magnification while viewing SB1235. On the experimental condition, it has proven capable of excellent clarity at over 300 million x magnification. Analysis times 300 million times magnification. Analysis of SB1235 using -1 indicates that SB1235 represents a microcosm. Nations within SB1235 are composed of apparently sentient beings at a scale of approximately. Is that supposed to be like 1 to 25,512,400? A typical microcosmic individual is approximately 700 angstroms tall, and as far as it can be ascertained, is composed of microcosmic particles on a similar scale to the non-anomalous counterparts. When SB1235 is opened to any given page, time begins to pass at a highly accelerated rate, approximately 1 to 300. In the world it portrays, beginning from the Atlas to post date of publication 1903, closing and reopening the page resets the world within SB1235 to the 3rd, 1903. The inhabitants of SB1235 seem to retain awareness throughout this reset, and have made several attempts to prevent further interference, culminating in Incident 1. Oh, there's an incident, great. Although microcosmic event chronologically prior to 3rd, 1903, apparently proceeded historically significant diversion from historicity have been noted following extended observations shortly after recovery. SB1235 was left open to pages 7 to 8, a full page spread of Atlantic Ocean trading routes for 7 days. During this time, geopolitical and geosocial disturbances were observed throughout the area covered by the map. It appears that as soon as the time begins to pass within SB1235, its inhabitants become aware of macrocosmic reality, though it is uncertain to what extent they are able to resolve images from macrocosmic light and thus accurately perceive the nature of the wider world. The rapid rise to hegemony in Europe and Africa of a federated Austro-Hungarian state, possibly predicted on the proposal for United States of Austria, floated in macrocosmic history too. By Aurel Popovsky, seems to be a common and inevitable outcome of iteration of the microcosmos viewed via pages 7 to 8. Experimentation on other pages has been suspended following Incident 1 and subsequent breach attempts. Several attempts have been made to contact contemporaneous Foundation assets in Britain and the United States throughout. Microstenography microdots measuring under 1 nanometer were dropped onto the unpopulated areas of Canada and Africa wilderness under British control. Thus far, it is unclear whether these objects have been correctly interpreted. The hostile nature of the Central European powers makes close observation increasingly difficult. If communication with a microcosmic foundation is established, the fate of sight in the western United States, not depicted on the map, is to be determined as a priority containment breach of a microcosmic version of SCP. Constitutes a possible XK class event. It is not at all clear that this will be confined to the microcosmos until its status can be ascertained. Attempts to neutralize SB1235, the removal of light sources of destruction, or destruction of part or all of the Atlas cannot be countenanced. SB1235 and -1 were recovered from the Cambridge offices of Dr. Arnold, a Bavarian-born historian and known cartographic enthusiast who had been previously used as a consultant by Sector 30 in matters relating to SCP. The whereabouts of Dr. Are currently unknown, and he has since been reported missing. A hastily written note was found near the object's handwriting. Analysis indicates this has been penned by Dr. The note, translated from German, reads both quality and detail are incredible. It is uncertain whether this missive refers to SB1235-1 or both. On 2000, SCP-1235 object class was upgraded to Euclid following unprecedented activity by microcosmic state actors in the third week of sustained observation. The Austrian Empire, supported by German and possibly Belgian and Romanian allies, launched a significant fleet of vessels into macrocosmic space, apparently powered by glucose harvested from dust falling onto SCP-1235. Professor was attacked by a number of these objects, which used several milligrams of high explosive to destroy his eardrums. It appears the intent was to enter his brain, cause life-threatening damage. Fortunately, the Austrian forces appear to have underestimated the extent of this explosion in the confined space of Professor ear, disabling the portion of the fleet assigned to the attack. The remainder of the force, however, was successfully and rapidly in constructing makeshift clamps from surrounding material to prevent further manipulation of the pages of the SCP-1235. Examination Room 3 was designated a high priority containment area and sealed off from the surrounding facility. The Central European Alliance has since reinforced the beachhead with pressurized habitats, domes, and artillery emplacements based around the clamps, which have been progressively strengthened. Several attempts have since been made at resetting page 7 to 8 or closing SCP-1235. In each case, this has resulted in increasingly lethal counterattack by forces from microcosmos, usually attempting to breach containment or attack researchers assigned to SCP-1235 during containment breach. 3. It became evident that at least the Austrian state has developed atomic weaponry, though these devices are generally less hazardous to personnel than previous attempts by various state actors to modify microcosmic viruses. SCP-1235 military assets have proved highly capable of targeting these weapons towards eyes, eardrums, and other sensory apparatus where they are able to damage on a macroscopic scale. And they have always been successful in breaching chemtorium suits. The americium pellet in Examination Room 3 smoke alarm has also been seized, apparently in the belief that this mass will be fissionable via microcosmic explosives. The increasing sophisticated and hostility of agents within SCP-1235 is a matter of extreme concern to sector management. Reclassification to Keter class is pending. I'm getting exhausted. Okay. 4 paintings. I don't know why there's this childhood story that was all about like the 4 seasons and like how like the 4 seasons was like the world, the world was like not 4 seasons but 4 colors, and the world was split into 4 colors, and so like one was only purely blue, the other one was purely red, the other one was purely green, and the other was purely orange yellowish, and they all lived in that. It was like I'm blue, but die. Literally, just one section of the world was just blue, and they all lived like that, and all kind of just wanted to be in their own color. But then, like throughout the story, they realized like, oh, green has some cool stuff that's in their color, and then they started like all mingle and come together, and then the world became truly colorful. It was like a mixture of colors. So I don't know why I'm thinking of that. I'm thinking of like paintings that represent all that, and like if you look at it, you become that color maybe. But I could be. The moment I mentioned color, and this is the first thing I see, I almost thought I was onto something. I was like, oh no, did I get this right? SCP-1236, 1 to 4 are to be draped with black light blocking fabric and kept in locked cases when not being studied. These cases may be stored in the same storage area. The lock securing each case will be individually keyed upon removal from the case. Any Any S of SCP-1236, 124 will be placed upon a floor-mounted easel still draped in the black fabric. Only when the setup team is safely behind the paintings will the black fabric covers be pulled back to reveal the images painted upon the canvas. SCP-1236 is a series of 4 paintings labeled SCP-1236 1 through 4. Each is 100 centimeters high by 75 centimeters wide and are framed with plain black wooden frames. They are painted in a style reminiscent of a keef harrowing, though signed on the back with the name Searle. When viewed through a remote viewing device, such as a monitor camera by way of a mirror through a sheet of glass or a recorded image such as video footage or still picture, the images feature a colored background with a differently colored figure in the center of the image. The figure is humanoid in shape with no physical feature other than head, arm, leg, and torso outlines, as is typical of Howing's work. When viewed directly, however, each image takes on a specific characteristics depending upon the viewer. The original image is not visible to the viewer. Instead, an alternative image is seen. Following investigation into 4 staff suicides and multiple emotional social problems reported to staff, psychologists, non-D-class personnel are barred from directly viewing any of the SCP-1236 set of paintings. -1 is this canvas will show a full-length portrait of a person who is the viewer ideal of physical perfection based upon sexual orientation. This is not an image of any real person, but it's a representation of every desire and subconscious drive brought together in a single individual. This incident represents the ultimate in physical and sexual attractiveness to the viewer. This impression works down to the mental and personality level, with the viewer being able to describe. I'm gonna let you guys, on stream you're gonna hear the music still. On YouTube, I'm sorry that you don't have music. I'm thinking of adding in the future, like some. Adding some other sound in the background so it doesn't sound this quiet. Like post in the editing, like just adding something like maybe not lo-fi, but like something that adds a bit of an atmosphere that usually I have. So because I've listened to myself trying to upload the previous video, and I realized like, man, it's just without the music, it just sounds so quiet. -2, this canvas will show an image of the viewer himself as a physical perfect specimen. They reveal themselves as the ultimate in attractiveness and desirability. Is that the same as -1 then? No, the -1 is seeing another person who's perfect and desirable. The -2 is making you look perfect and desirable. Gotcha. They view themselves as the ultimate in attractiveness and desirability, regardless of an actual appearance and how extreme the change to become perfect. The viewer will still recognize themselves as the subject of the image. Again, this works to the personality level, and any personality flaw are removed and any more desirable traits included. -3, this canvas features a portrait of the viewer's current or most recent significant other. This image, much like the previous 2, projects an image of the physical and mental perfection. The viewer sees the significant other rendered into the most physically and mentally appealing manner possible. Any actual imperfections are eliminated, and the subject is seen in the absolute best possible light. That can be a bit dangerous though, if you go to the significant other who's not that. And be like, why are you not perfect anymore? What happened? What changed? -4 is this canvas reveals another portrait of the viewer, but in this case in the worst possible light. So -4, just ignore -4 completely. Each imperfection is magnified and character flaws are obvious and horrendous. Upon seeing this image, the viewer is given the impression that they are a horribly repulsive person, that there is no way any person could ever be attracted to them. So -1 to 3 is all good. You're either see somebody who is super attracted to you, you think you're the most attractive person, or your significant other is perfect. Dash 4, though, is the one you don't want to watch or look into. Addendum A. All 4 of the paintings were found in August redacted in an art gallery in New York City. When interviewed, the owner of the gallery could not recall where he had acquired them, but had 6 paintings in the series. He only displayed them for part of the day and reported that they made people very uncomfortable. The owner, who wore glasses due to severe myopia, reported taking the paintings off display, but not before selling 2 of them to an unnamed buyer for several $1,000s each. The remaining paintings were transferred to the foundation, but no gallery records exist to show who may have purchased the other 2 paintings in the series. The owner of the gallery reported having taken the information of the individual who purchased the paintings, but that the information had somehow been deleted from his database, along with all other information related to the other 6 paintings. Oh, simple but clean. Simple and clean. When you walk away, you don't hear me say, please, oh baby, don't go. Simple and clean is the way that you're making me feel tonight. Yeah. The Epsilon Wave. Last 3 ones at least. Epsilon Wave. No idea. I'm fucking exhausted, so I haven't. Whoa, this shit going fucking nuts. Oh god. Wait a minute. Oh yeah. Okay. This was used in the 682 experiment. Okay. Keto. Oh boy. Oh boy. We had 3 ketos in this one. God damn. Also, I might have to like quickly do something just real quick, because I'm surprised I still haven't gotten a response. Wait a minute, what is this? Uh-oh, did I miss something? I did not. Okay, good. There we go. There we go. Back to this. Okay. Due to its pandemic and incorporeal nature, SCP-1237 cannot be contained in a traditional sense. Containment of SCP-1237 at this time shall be focused on information management and on identification and containment of -1 positive individuals. Any non-foundation scientific research which could lead to discovery of SCP-1237 is to be suppressed by any means necessary. Transcription of researchers involved in such studies as Foundation personnel or as the class is authorized. The Foundation is to sponsor efforts wherever and whenever possible, to promote widespread DNA testing of civilians for the purpose of identifying -1 positives, including but not limited to mandatory testing of sex offenders, excuse me, and other convicted offenders. DNA testing as prerequisites for employment is of insurance eligibility, DNA fingerprinting as a means of identification, universal prenatal screenings, and home DNA testing kits, ostensibly for the purpose of determining a person's ancestry. All Foundation personnel and any civilian who is allowed to know of the Foundation existence must be tested immediately. Information is to be this is a long contained procedure. Information is to be disseminated to in the medical community to the effect that an -1 positive result in a prenatal screening is evidence of deformative condition with a low viability and extreme health risk to the mother, and doctors are advised to recommend that such pregnancies be terminated if a known -1 positive pregnancy is not voluntarily aborted. Induction of involuntary abortion is authorized. The Foundation is to sponsor any and all organizations or charities providing prenatal screenings and abortions. The word prenatal is so weird to say for me. I don't know why. Abortion services, whether legal or not, in developing countries where these services do not exist. If these efforts are unsuccessful, sponsorship of organizations' participation in campaigns of involuntary sterilization, ethnic cleansing, or genocide is authorized against population with statistically high rates of -1. Any person presenting at hospital or police or otherwise identified as having experienced an SCP-1237 event is to be detained for study and testing. If the individual is -1 negative, they are to be debriefed, administered a Class B amnestic, and released. Any person found to be -1 positive are to be caused or have to have caused an SCP-1237 incident is to be detained immediately for study and debriefing. After debriefing, they are to be administered a Class amnestic, and detained indefinitely. Indefinitely positives are to be regularly dosed with Class C. I'm losing my mind. Class C amnestics to prevent any development of new memories regarding the existence of the Foundation or any staff handling them. Benzodiazepines to minimize low wave sleep and. Oh yeah, because I don't have the headphones on. To prevent REM sleep and I was like, where's the beep? And during sleep shall be monitored at all times by EEG. If the event that any positive enters an SCP-1237 state during observation, that are to be terminated immediately. If an -1L is identified by the Foundation, authorized is granted to employ them once and only once to attempt to neutralize a key class SCP object at the discretion of O5 at the said attempt, whether successful or not. Subject is to be terminated immediately. If any high-profile person or public place are affected by an SCP-1237 event, the Foundation is authorized to take whatever steps necessary to prevent public knowledge of this change, up to and including termination or complete destruction of the person's place also affected. SCP-1237 is a state of electrical activity in the human brain, a brainwave in common terminology observed in certain individuals during periods of extremely deep sleep. The state, informally dubbed level 5 sleep or epsilon sleep, wave sleep, is profoundly difficult to awaken the subject from. Prior to adoption of current containment protocols, experiments with loud noise, bright lights, chemical injection, electrical stimulation, oxygen deprivation, physical injury, and mutilation in redacted all fail to arouse the subject. The ability to exhibit SCP-1237 is controlled by a gene designated -1. -1 is present in approximately 0.% of the total world population. However, this number is as high as 1 among and ethnic groups. Percent of SCP-1237 -1 positives experience at least one SCP-1237 event in their lives. Percent experience 2 or more. The majority of SCP-1237 event occurs when the subject is in the late teens to early 30s. Whereas -1 negative individuals do not exhibit REM activity during the deepest stages of sleep, -1 positives do. My mouth is getting all dry. Dreams experienced during an SCP-1237 event are not of significantly different nature than dreams experiencing by negatives. They may involve the dreamer participating in a routine daily activities, find them in impossible or illogical situation where people they may or may not know behave uncharacteristically, or find them in scenarios most persons would find terrifying. As with ordinary dreams, the subject has no apparent control over the setting or event of the dream or their actions therein. When dreaming during an SCP-1237 state, however, the brain waves responsible for REM activity and SCP-1237 activity interact to produce a reality-altering effect. This is a second SCP that has to do with is connected to dreams. Interestingly, that's fascinating. This time, it's not a good time. There's no old man in a green cloak being like, "Hey, I'll make your wish come true." After an SCP-1237 event occurs, any physical or mental changes that occur to the subject in the dream will occur to the waking form as well. If the dream involves persons or places that the subject has personally interacted with or visited, those persons and places will be altered as well as in accordance with the nature of the dream. Imaginary persons or places not person. Imaginary personal places or persons or places not personally known by the subject are not affected. Transformation is instantaneous in all cases that have been observed. In general, memories of people not involved in the dream are unaffected. People encountering persons affected by an SCP-1237 event will believe that the changes are correct and that the person has always been that way. However, they will have memories that this is not the case. Attempts to reconcile this among witnesses to an SCP-1237 event tend to result in chronic uneasiness, paranoia, and redacted. Document effects of SCP-1237 events have included loss of limbs and organs or spontaneous regeneration of limbs and organs previously lost, complete and total change in physical appearance, gender and personality, memories, age, or species, acquisition of superhuman abilities including the ability to fly, lift extremely heavy objects, otherwise survive without oxygen, or see through solid objects, significant changes in the architecture and floor plan of buildings, of the layout of the city streets, or of the appearance, characteristics, or names of landmarks, changes in the outcome of historical events the subject was involved in, individuals returning to life several years after dying. This sounds like Spawn. Except the changes of building, a lot of this sounds like Spawn. The spontaneous transformation of national governments from one form to another, example from a republic to a constitutional monarchy, or from a democratic confederation to an autocratic dictatorship, redacted. A very small percentage of -1 positive beliefs to be in the single digits worldwide. Designated -1-L are capable of lucid dreaming, the ability to control the nature of their dreams, including those occurring in SCP-1237 events. To date, only one -1-L has been identified by the Foundation. See experiment log R for details pertaining to its deposition. Of course, it's fucking the reptile. So, addendum note from researcher: it's of utmost importance that all agents assigned to SCP-1237 containment understand exactly how dangerous this phenomenon can potentially become. We have no idea how much of our world has been changed by these dreamers in the past. A single positive having a single dream has been potential to change the world for the worse. What if a mortician watches a scary movie, then falls asleep and dreams that the town is part of a zombie apocalypse? What if a globetrotter dreams about the end of the world? What if someone aware of our existence dreams of the world where there's no such thing as the Foundation? We're talking CK, maybe even XK level events here. As it stands right now, we don't even know how many of these people are out there that we haven't found. For this reason, I want to stress that any means necessary to implement universal DNA testing and to remove these people from the gene pool is authorized, and that there is absolutely no margin of error for mercy. When you become part of this organization, you understood that we sometimes have to do horrible things in the name of the greater good, things that make it hard to sleep at night. I must ask you to do these horrible things and to continue doing these horrible things for as long as it takes to neutralize this threat. Because it only takes one positive who can sleep at night to create a world where the rest of us will never wake up again. Whoo! Yeah, okay, so if that means, yeah, now I understand more. The theoretical family. Here we go. Tunnel. Oh, excuse me. Tunnel fish. We've been at this for 2.5 hours. Fucking hell. Not much longer than usual, but still pretty long. Because right now we'll be usually done. There's only two left. But yeah, the tunnel fish. It's literally a fish in a tunnel. Like, you drive through a tunnel, you're like, and suddenly you like see this giant fish that's like swimming in the tunnel, like on the other side. You're like, honey, put away your phone and look out. What is it? Is that a fish? It's a fish. Is it swimming alongside us? In the air? Like, that's what I imagine. Maybe it's not. Oh, God. Okay, it's not too long. Good. Another keto, man. We have a lot of ketos in this one. Yesterday we had a lot of saves. Now we're getting a bunch of ketos. Any wild colonies of SB1238 are to be destroyed as soon as possible, until such time as SB1238 can be reduced to and maintained at pre-1850 population levels, or is it 1850 population levels? It's supposed to be like date or amount. The Foundation shall lease with the National Oceanographic and Atmospheric Administration and other oceanographic research institutes as necessary to track SB1238 movement and attempt to locate entrances to SB1238 tunnels. Any tunnel discovered should have its entrance sealed by any means necessary that will not result in seismic instability until such time as means of completely filling in existing tunnels or rendering them structurally stable is developed. SB1238 specimen in the wild. The foundation is to monitor seismic activity within the gold zone at the times of indication of the new tunnel construction or evidence that event 638-MU-34 is imminent. Whenever possible, persons living above known tunnels should be relocated. No other SCP's objects except those the nature of which renders them immovable are to be contained within the gold zone. No mission critical Foundation personnel are to travel, remain, or operate within the gold zone except as necessary to monitor SB1238 or other SCP objects within the area. No member of the O5 Council is to enter the gold zone at any time. Personnel whose hometown is located with the gold zone or who have immediate family members residing within the gold zone are disqualified from participating in SB1238 containment. In the event that event 638-MU-34 is determined to be imminent, all Foundation personnel are to attempt to evacuate the gold zone immediately. Foundation personnel within the gold zone are to effect immediate evacuation of high-ranking government officials, military personnel, and culturally significant individuals as per plan Contra IK 638, and to secure the retrieval and removal of listed artifacts of cultural or historical value before attempting to evacuate themselves. Mobile research on Unit 638 is to remain on site within the goal zone, transmit observation and data to Overwatch Command until such time as environmental conditions render communication possible. Following event 638-MOO-34, the Foundation to lease, I don't know how to say that word, with national government and employ its resources for humanitarian purposes as necessary to prevent escalation to an IK-class collapse of global civilization event. SCP-138 is a species of deep-sea fish with no current taxonomic classification. Morphologically similar to the Antarctic toothfish, Distotrius malzoni. SCP-1238 resides principally in deep water in the northern Pacific Ocean along the Western American and Western Canadian coastlines. Adult SCP-1238 specimens measure an average 1.4 meters in length and weigh 100 to 110 kilogram. SCP-1238 is not suitable for human consumption due to the large concentration of toxic minerals consumed by the fish and are not currently fished for in any significant quantity or exploited by human industry for any significant purpose. During most of its life cycle, SCP-1238 specimens subsist primarily on the diet of smaller fish and other small aquatic animals during spawning season, which lasts from approximately early April to mid-July each year. The secondary digestive tract of sexually mature SCP-1238 specimens become active, allowing the fish to digest and metabolize inorganic minerals and metals, particularly the deposits of metamorphic rock located below a region of the northwestern United States and southwestern Canada. Designated gold zone. During spawning season, SCP-1238 will gather and amass at specific sites along the ocean floor and begin a process of tunneling under and through the continental shelf, widening and expanding the tunnel as a result of the consuming the existing rock. During spawning season, and adults SCP-1238 fish can consume and metabolize approximately 120% of its body mass and minerals within a 24-hour period. SCP-1238 produces little waste matter during this stage. Volume of waste excreted is approximately 10% of that consumed. Tunnels produced by SCP-1238 in this manner become the spawning grounds in which SCP-1238 eggs are laid and fertilized. That's why it's a tunnel fish. It creates giant fucking tunnels. Well, not giant, but it creates tunnels. A female of SCP-1238 fish is capable of laying up to 40,000 eggs. Damn. That's a lot of caviar. Within a season of which approximately 25 to 35% will survive to adulthood under current condition. Some of them will become Nemo. SCP-1238 hatchlings reach sexual maturity after approximately 10 years and have been documented to live up to approximately 35 years in the wild. And you cannot eat them because they're fucking toxic as shit. SCP-1238 specimens almost always return to the tunnel in which they were born in order to spawn, with tens of thousands of individual specimens involved in digging a single tunnel. SCP-1238 will continue to expand on a specific tunnel, occasionally forming branching tunnels until natural phenomena cause the tunnel to collapse. Population growth results in excessive competition for resources, or the food supply becomes inadequate. Individual SCP-1238 tunnels have been documented to extend as far as kilometers from the starting point and as steep as kilometers below surface level. Memo 205. What is this actually? Event 638 and background and threat analysis level 4 clearance required. Memo 205 Council. So the 17913 Central Ethics Committee SCP-1238 Research Committee Event 638-MU-34 Threat Analysis. 19. And here we have a map of the northwestern United States and western Canada depicting approximately projected flooding as a result of the event 638 MU-34 global sea level adjustment as a result of flooding not represented. God, there's so much to read today. Prior to the late 19th century, the environmental impact of SCP-1238 was largely self-contained. The widespread commercial exploitation of the northern Pacific since then has resulted in the depopulation or extinction of several cetaceans and other species that previously preyed on SCP-1238, and as a result, SCP-1238 population has increased exponentially since 1850 and continues to do so to this day. In particular, tunnel construction has increased dramatically as a result of this In particular, the tunnel construction has increased dramatically as a result of this overpopulation, as we believe that the approximately 200 kilometer worth of tunnel existing in 1850 tunneling has now accelerated far beyond the rate at which natural geologic events cause tunnel collapse. We currently estimate that there are approximately kilometers of tunnels in existence extending up to kilometers inland from the Pacific coast spread throughout a region of the northwestern US and the southern Canada designated the Gold Zone. Damage to these tunnels have resulted in the increasing number of sinkholes and other anomalous phenomena on the surface, including an allegedly bottomless sinkhole referred to as Male's Hole. Computer modeling indicates that the collapse of one of the larger tunnels or major earthquakes occurring along the redacted fault lines could potentially cause a chain reaction designated event 638-MU-34, ultimately resulting in the complete collapse of the tunnel network, the partial collapse of the continental shelf, and the permanent flooding of a large area of the Gold Zone by the Pacific Ocean of depths of up to meters. If SCP-1238 tunneling continues to accelerate at the current rate, our model predicts a high probability of event 638 MU-34 occurring no later than 2000. Even if all SCP-1238 tunneling were to cease immediately, a high probability remains of event 638 MU-34 occurring within the next 100 years. I never had to read it like that. God. With our current method of seismic analysis, we believe the Foundation would be able to predict the onset of event 638 MU-34 no sooner than 60 minutes prior to the beginning of the tunnel collapse, with continental shelf collapse occurring over the next 12 hours and complete flooding following over the next several weeks. Our models predict the few people residing within the Gold Zone, if any, would be able to evacuate upon the onset of events 638-MU-34, were the event to occur tomorrow. We will predict approximately 1 million human casualties within 24 hours and the destruction of approximately square kilometers of land, the complete destruction of the city of Boise, Olympia, Portland, Sacramento, Salem, San Francisco, Seattle, Spokane, Vancouver, and Victoria, among others, and an unquantifiable large amount of property damage. The immediate result of event 638-MU-34 are likely to cause a mass extinction of land and aquatic flora and fauna within the near the Gold Zone, including SCP-1238 itself, to the destruction of habitats, and will produce lingering effects for decades to the introduction of pollution in the form of chemical and nuclear waste, debris from man-made artifacts, and large quantities of human and animal remains into the Pacific Ocean. As much of the Gold Zone is currently employed as farmland, a significant percentage of the United States food supply is likely to be impacted. We predict massive spikes in the spike of food, oil, consumer goods, and other commodities as a result. Hinterlands neighboring the flooded regions of the Gold Zone are likely to suffer immediate economic devastation as a result of being cut off from the outside world. Rapid onset of famine and communicable disease is expected as a result. We predict a global adjustment to sea level of approximately meters as a result of a water displacement into the Gold Zone and major tsunami activity throughout the Pacific Rim. This change will produce a significant impact on international maritime commerce or fishing, and may possibly contribute to a global economic or political crisis due to the sudden inaccessibility of vital resources. Global telecommunications are likely to be severely impacted due to the loss of telecommunications infrastructure within the Gold Zone and a massive spike in civilian communication via phone, emails, social networking, etc. during and in the immediate aftermath of event 638-mu-34. I'm so fucking exhausted from reading. My throat is starting to like become rough. It is therefore our opinion at this time that if and when event 638-mu-34 occurs, the Foundation must devote as much of its resources as possible to continuity of operations and maintaining global and economic security. The unrest and devastation likely as a result has the potential to escalate into an IK-class event, which will severely compromise the Foundation ability to keep other SCP objects under containment and protect the human race from the influence. In the meantime, mass eradication of SCP-1238 population will slow the acceleration of a new tunneling, buying the Foundation time to develop a more permanent means of staving off that which is currently inevitable. We additionally suggest that our media resources foster the revolution of a sustainable culture within the Gold Zone in order to encourage population decentralization, the movement of vital technological, industrial, military resources away from the Gold Zone, and allow population of SCP-1238's natural predators to rebound. Postscript: per our previous discussion with the Central Ethics Committee, 058 has been deliberately excluded from this memo and will not be made aware of the event 638-mu-34. Why? At this time. What did he do last time? Did he fuck up this big that we don't know the gender, that they oh wait, did it say he? No, it should say no, wait. Has been explained. Yeah. The circumstance of 058's early life and education in the current residence of his, he fucked up, extended family within the Gold Zone may present a conflict of interest if 058 is made aware of the threat at this time. So you're saying he's going to be emotionally biased if he was aware of the situation. No, okay, interesting. Even though, the 05 have to do a lot of choice making. But that's an interesting one because it has a massive, even though what they do is technically not that dangerous, technically if you think about it, make tunnels to lay eggs, but because those tunnels can collapse and cause sinkholes and water flowing in, all that stuff, a lot of disruption. Last one, guys. Last one. Adult play area. So what if it's a playground, but instead of a slide and a swing set, there's it actually doesn't sound like an SPR. I was about to say there's there's a archery set and all that stuff, but that you can literally make that in real life. But so what is the SCP, the anomalous effect of it? Maybe the anomalous effect is that it is a normal playground, and in the moment adults come close to it, they all think they're children. Please be short. Thank you. Save. A site has been established around S-2 when not in use for testing. Dash 1 and removable instances of Dash 3 are to be kept outside of Dash 2 in dedicated storage lockers to prevent accidental activation. Dash 2 should be soundproof with all windows obscured from the outside. SCP-1239 consists of 3 components. Dash 1, a lamp with a standard low voltage power cable containing artificial floor with 4 flower-like light bulbs. The words "Hey kids" are engraved on the lid. Dash 2, a residence in Dash 3, a specific set of object presence within Dash 2 at the time of recovery. The anomalous effect of SCP-1239 manifests if Dash 1 is powered and viewed by a post-pubescent human subject while both are within Dash 2. Following this, the subject will experience a series of conditional hallucination until exiting Dash 2 as follows. Subject will perceive samples of Dash 3 to be different objects. This is apparently consistent between subjects, as all subjects test have perceived respective SCP-1239 samples in the same way. Footnote, please. For an extensive list of SCP-1239 samples and the respective hallucination appearances, please refer to document B, not addendum, document B. Object present within Dash 2 other than Dash 3 will be perceived normally by affected subjects. Subject will perceive any prepubescent or pubescent individuals present within Dash 2 as highly amiable despite the subject's prior disposition or relationship with children, and will express a desire to engage in play activities. Subject will receive all expressions of discomfort, pain, or displeasure produced by prepubescent and pubescent individuals within Dash 2 as expression of pleasure or enjoyment. Upon exiting SCP-1239, the hallucinatory symptoms caused by exposure to Dash 1 will cease and are removed radioactively. In example, the subject will remember observing Dash 3 sample as they would normally appear and will be unable to recall experiencing the hallucination previously caused by SCP-1239. Behavior caused by SCP-1239, however, will be recalled with an expected degree of detail. As a result of this, subjects are able to recall actions made under the influence of SCP-1239, but are unable to recall the motivation for said actions. As summarized recovery log, SCP-1239 was first identified shortly after an incident occurring in Dash 2 on 7th, in which the respective parent of 10 children who had agreed to meet as part of a social event were exposed to Dash 1. The affected individuals, of which there were 6, were interviewed and dealt with as per Recovery Protocol 8. A cover story regarding a toxic gas leak was later circulated, and the remains of the children incinerated after analysis. Pardon me? You asked children to participate and then they died? What is wrong with you? What the hell is wrong with you? Tests regarding SCP-1239 has determined that no direct or compulsive behavioral alteration result from exposure to to Dash 1, except from document B. So the Dash 3 sample, Dash 12, a kettle composed of plastic and stainless steel, hallucinated appearance. A polystyrene sword. Dash 13, a large oven, a copper box with the words Ford written on it in felt tip pen, and apparatus with the words Fun Controls written above it, which corresponds to the dials. Text representing the maximum temperature 200 degrees Celsius. The temperature dial can be set to has been replaced with the word maximum fun, and the words Fun button have been printed above the button activating the device. So that you get in there and then you activate it and you burn. Dash 14, a Glock 19 pistol, a toy handgun which produces a low energy red laser upon the trigger being pulled. The object possesses a mechanism to load cartridges normally. So it makes you think like all this dangerous stuff, or like, because like a polystyrene sword like means you're gonna swing that kettle around. You might hit somebody across the face with that shit. Dash 15, 17, 14, Batteries of multiple sizes, multiple biscuits, sugar, sweets, and other confections, primarily colored purple, blue, and pink. They will eat batteries, which is not a good thing. I get it. It makes you literally see everything different, and a lot of it will definitely end up killing you. Dash 16, 5 pots and pans of varying sizes, chiefly composed of stainless steel. 5 water balloons of varying, size and color, each filled with the near maximum amount of water that they can support. Yeah, I understand now how this fucking thing works, and it's cruel. You think you're safe, and you're having, you think it's safe, and a lot of fun, but then you get a fucking actual pistol pointed at you, and you think it's a water gun or it's a toy pistol, or you get a frying pan thrown at you, which you think it's a water balloon. Yeah, that. All right, we fucking finally did it. We finished. A Hero's Bone is going to be top. I'm sorry, it's such a good, wholesome SCP. I felt bad for the SCP itself. I felt bad for the doctor who lived that life for 200 years to come back to a shitty reality. But it's just great, and it's also an SCP that you would be like, I would love this in real life. Just be like, just walk in there and be like, hey man, just keep him around for like 10 years. I have to go back eventually, or like 5 years. I have to wake up eventually. I shouldn't forget the reality. But for 5 years, I just want to live like this. And then he's like, yeah, no problem, man. And just boom. The lunatic, that was just hilarious. It's basically if like Superman came down to Earth, but he was very confused about everything, and he's trying to like ask regular human beings if they want to come with him to Krypton and save it, and you're like, what? Yeah, that's a funny one. An abandoned bakery. Hey, you try the meat pie. Tastes just like Aunt Susie's, just like how Aunt Susie's made them. Or it might taste like her. One or the other. Okay, there we go. The theatrical family. I mean, that it was crazy going for A Hero Is Born to this one. Let me tell you that. The fact that like in every thumbnail there's a family, and some images it's like, oh, it's just normal family things, and the next thing you know, like, oh no, this was meant to indicate something really fucked up happening, and it always happened. No matter what, like at first it's like, oh, it's just casual stuff, and then the next thing you know, it's like, oh no, child's dead, mother's dead, father's dead, torn to shreds, eaten alive, and stuff like that. It's just messed up. The Epsilon Wave. Yeah, like I said, we had 2 dream-based things, but this one, yeah. Imagine you have a nightmare, and then and that nightmare becomes reality. That would be awful. Imagine you had a nightmare of a creature or something that you don't want to be real, and then it becomes real in actual real life, in your world. Oh no. 4 paintings. I just find it's hilarious how like 3 of them are like, it's like good, and then one of them was just like absolutely bad. Don't look at that one. You see the most perfect, sexually attractive human being, and then you think you're the most perfect, sexually attractive human being. Or you see your partner as the most perfect being ever. Whoa! And then one of them is like, your partner's a piece of shit. Why are you even dating him? A little play area. I think that's just, there's so much that you can do. I mean, the examples I gave is already really good, but I feel like there's like so much more you could do with that, how like messed up it is, because like I feel like I recall like it's some sort of movie scene or just some sort of scene from something where, oh yeah, Pyro from Team Fortress 2, where he thinks like he's like in this beautiful like Maryland, like he's just in this like beautiful world, but he's actually fucking burning everybody and going insane. So like I feel like it's kind of like that, except that you with regular objects that could, or non-regular, I mean, yeah, regular objects that could or could not be meant to kill. Like a gun is definitely meant to kill something, while, frying pan is not meant to kill, but it can if you fucking bash it on somebody's head enough. Tunnelfish, that is a geological crisis ready to happen, and yeah. Atlas Macrocosm, it really is it reminds me of a Love, Death and Robots episode where they open up the fridge and there's a whole like city and life being built in there, and they're all like super tiny people. So I imagine that, but just on a map, and not as rapid of evolving, because the whole part of there was like it evolves like so quickly from like Neanderthal time to modern time. And then the Novosadov syndrome. Again, I think I understand why it's not as highly rated, because it does seem to be it seems mostly closer to an STD / just not feeling well and then suddenly feeling horny, I get that in itself is not really that close to an SCP, like a special SCP, but I do think it deserves a bit of a higher rating just because of that picture and because of the story what happened to Novosadov to begin with, because that's still messed up. It's still messed up what happened to him, and the fact that caused some sort of like liquefied SCP, kind of like how the other guy who the family man in yesterday SCP reading was also like a POW, a prisoner of war, and then got experimented on, mistreated, and then an SCP just happened to come out of it. But okay, I am done. I'm done here. Oh, this was a long ass reading. I hope you guys enjoyed. I forgot to do the stopwatch for the ending part, but that doesn't matter. I hope you guys enjoyed. Yeah, we will read SCP 1240s next weekend, and yeah, I'm just glad to be back. It's great. I'm glad that this was the second SCP to read. It was like yesterday's SCP. I'll be like, man, I'm not sure if I'm ready to have this long ass read as my first SCP stream. My first back from the holidays, God damn. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. I wish you all a good morning, afternoon, evening, and the Afro